sitting here in front of me. We got Chao. You guys are gonna get to know him. We're gonna get to know his story. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you, bro, is because I've been, well, a user or like a patient of the plant medicine. I don't know how to call it, especially specifically. I used many different things, and I know you have dedicated your life to this aspect of life, to studying it, to helping people heal. And I wanted to know from you, and I know a lot of people. There are so much stuff that you told me about before we hopped on the call of misinformation and people just, well, they don't know how to start, where to do it. They do it with the wrong people, and basically just giving clarity to people on what is plant medicine specifically, how to specifically use it. So we're going to talk about all of that in a second, but first we're going to dive into you as a person. For those that don't know who you are, like how would you describe yourself and what is it that you do and how did you end up doing what you do? Like tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Okay, I think the best way to describe me as a person is I am a family man, first and foremost, and adventurer.
Yeah.
I think my life, the reason I'm capable of doing this job is because I'm not afraid easily, and I like taking risks and getting out of my comfort zone. And I really enjoy going into really dark places with people who have struggled with a lot. And I think that gives you a certain degree of success, of course, because it takes quite something mentally if you wish to work with people who have been raped or
Yeah.
suicidal or abused severely and all these things, which is the majority of people that you see in the plant medicine space, you know.
Yeah.
And I've always had this crazy obsession about the human psyche and healing and understanding the world. So if you like, if you have these questions and you're not afraid of diving deep into certain experiences
Yeah.
to get those answers, then a certain path is going to shape you. I know that might sound a little bit vague for some people, and for other people that might sound very relatable. But to make it more personal, I was born and raised here on Curaçao, which is a small island off the coast of Venezuela. And my mother has always been a healer, and her grandfather, so that's like three generations back, also
Mm,
was a leader. Used to call him Papa John. And I think it began very early, at an early age, because I was bullied a lot as a kid. And Papa John always gave me a certain view on life that really helped me deal with, certain issues that people don't experience just as a child, but also growing up later and in later stages of your life. How do you deal with boundaries? How do you deal with respect? How can you stay loving and appreciating and in gratitude even when your life is hard and difficult? So I think these things shape you, the foundation that you get from your parents. And then as I grew into my teenage years, I saw and realized my mother working with herbs and plants and meditations and the people that are coming and going and seeking her advice. But I think because you're still young, and even though you're growing in a very traditional household, you're also growing in a new world, which is modern civilization. So my interests deviated, and I went to the Netherlands to study, because I feel like that's what most people do when they live in South America and they have a passport
yeah.
to go, they go.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I did the same thing, thinking that it would make me happy, because I think for some people the European/American lifestyle is, how you say, it's normal for them. But I think if you're a kid growing up in South America, that life can be quite harsh here sometimes. And then what you see in the movies with the Hollywood lifestyle and American dream life and European architecture and stuff, you think that the grass is greener on the other side of the world.
Mm,
So when I went, I had a hard backslap and realized like, whoa, I actually don't like these studies at all. I don't like college at all. I don't like school at all. I don't like studying at all.
okay.
So That
No,
was
no,
quite a bit.
sorry for interrupting you, but so, just so we know the timeline, what age did you go to the Netherlands?
So my parents divorced when I was 9, and then I think a year later, my mother met a new partner, and he was from the Netherlands. And then they
Yeah.
decided to go to the Netherlands.
Hmm.
So they took me when I was like 10 or something, and I was rebelling. I didn't
Bro,
want to
I'm
go. I wanted
tripping
to
right
stay here.
now for one reason because I was born in the Netherlands and at the age
Yeah.
of 10, 11, I moved to Lebanon to the
Ah,
like the more islandy type of vibe. So
uh,
we had like the opposite. That's
switch. Yeah,
crazy. Holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
That must have been a shock for you too. I can imagine.
Bro, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue, please. I'm into the story. Yeah.
And well, once I came to the Netherlands, I kind of started liking it at first because I got a girlfriend. I didn't get bullied anymore at school. I started having friends. So in that instance, my life was a lot better. And then when I was 15 or so, my parents said, you know what? We're gonna go back to Curaçao, and if you want, you can come with us, or if you want, you can stay here. Well, obviously, I didn't have any family there, but
Bro,
my
wait. I'm so sorry for interrupting you the whole time. Bro, wait. So you went to the Netherlands at the age 10, something like that, and then you went back at the age of 15.
no, I
They
decided to
they
stay.
went back.
Yeah, I told them I
Okay.
have a girlfriend, I have friends here, I like it here, so I decided to stay. And my mom raised me to be very self-efficient, very responsible. So I think, from the moment I could walk, I was folding my own clothes. From the moment I could talk, I learned how to like fix the washing machine when it was having an issue. So that made me very capable of living on my own. So when I was 15, I well, they left the house for me, and I had to pay like a part of the rent. And every
Yeah.
year, as I started earning more money, I had to pay more and more of the rent. And I did that until I think I was 17 or 18, and I got my own place where I paid the rent in full. Of course, when you're 18, you're also done with like middle school, and you go to college to study. And that was another deciding factor. What did I do? Do I go back to Curacao and continue my life there, or do I stay here and study? Well, like I said, because I had better experience in the Netherlands and I still kind of had that dream of, I can have success here financially and career wise, I decided to stay and just go study there. And I did a study at first to become a physician, but I hated at that time the narrative of what it takes to be a physician and all the knowledge that comes with it. Because I thought, that the science and the knowledge that's being transferred to the school system is very limited. I think many people can kind of agree on that. And I quit the study and I moved on to another study. I wanted to become a history teacher at the university. But I
Okay.
had the same problem. I was limited towards a certain agenda, a curriculum, because I wanted to talk about certain topics, for example, um, indigenous wisdom, indigenous history. But the problem was they wanted to talk about European history and Napoleon and Nazis and blah, blah, and I didn't really care much for that. So I quit my job and started working in gyms because I had an interest in physical health, and I started giving rehabilitation training to elderly people. So when they have problems with the back, problems with the hips, these types of things, and then you notice a pattern. You notice that most of them have certain diseases as well: high blood pressure, heart problems, osteoporosis, all these type of issues. And the only help they're really getting is medicine. They're getting pills and pills and pills and pills, of which the doctor prescribed and told them you're going to be with these pills till the end of your days. Well, I
Yeah.
told you before, I come from a line of healers, and I was raised a certain way to view health and what it means to have a healthy lifestyle. So I couldn't help myself. I know it's illegal to give any medical advice if you're not a doctor, especially in Europe or America, but I couldn't help myself. So under the table, I started negotiating with these people and being like, hey, if you want, I can help you. I can give you a diet. I can give you herbs. And I'm not saying we can fix your problem, but we can at least get you so far that you don't have to take these pills anymore. That you can let your own body come back to its health. And if there's any part of the disease or issue left, you can at least manage it to have a prolonged and healthier life. Well,
Yeah,
um,
makes sense.
a lot of people, they were really into that, and I noticed that more and more people kept coming. So I started working in different gyms, and as you know, grandpa and grandmother find this guy in the gym who gives health advice and to get better. Now the children want to come too, and now the grandchildren who have maybe issues want to come too. So I think within a span of like a year, 2 year max, I was treating kids that were just coming to the gym with their parents. Some of them had like the vaccine shot, and now they have like how you say, they had these. I have to translate in my head
It's
because I
okay.
speak four languages.
You can say it in Dutch. Uh,
Like like a shock, epileptic attacks. They had
okay,
the
yeah,
vaccine,
epilepsy. Yeah.
and, yeah, and now all of a sudden they were having epileptic attacks, or that they had severe cases of ADHD, or they had severe outbreaks of
Yeah.
eczema and these things. And
Okay.
they go to the doctor, and the doctor only prescribes pills or like a cram or something, and it's, oh, this is what you need. You have to take it
Yeah.
for the rest of your life.
Sure.
Well, you can imagine that if you're in a position where you're capable of helping people and it actually works, then opportunities are going to come to you. So at some point, one of the owners of the gym where I was working at came to me, and he said to me, "Hey, I have an office. You should actually go to, um, I say, to the government and get your license to have start your own company and do your things. Under what name? I'm giving medical consults, but I'm not a doctor or anything. Like, what do I put?" And he told me, just say you're doing consulting,
Yeah.
because that's loud, and that was true. So I opened my own company, and at the time it was called Pathway Consulting. Pathway, helping you find your path along the way. And
Nice.
he offered me my own office with a kitchen and a couch and everything, so I could treat people, come do treatments, give consults. And he didn't ask me anything. He really gave me the opportunity to start growing my own thing.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So I think at some point, I had a running company dealing with herbs and these things. Um, but now comes a big jump, because it's not, to become a healer in our tradition is not
Yeah.
knowledge. You need certain instinctive skills, intuitive skills that allow you to do that work. And well, the reason I was bullied at school when I was younger is because I had those skills. I had the same capabilities that my mom also has. When a person is dying, I could have a feeling like, okay, that person is going to die in so many months. If I saw a woman and the woman is pregnant, I could tell if the woman was pregnant even if the woman doesn't know it herself. Sometimes I'd see things that other people can't see, and sometimes I could feel moods of people without even having seen them or spoken to them. For example, one of my teachers, she was divorcing, and I remember just coming to school and giving her a hug and saying it's going to be okay. I knew, and this makes you a very beautiful child, in my eyes, at least. I think that makes you a very beautiful soul if you can have a kid who is, susceptible, receptive for these types of things.
That
But
makes
in
it
a,
very
but
hard for the kid.
yeah, but for other kids, it's very difficult to understand you and
Oh yeah,
be more
sure.
compassionate with you, because they kind of see you like a freak.
Yeah.
So during my teenage years, I learned to silence that. What I feel with people, I don't say it. What I see with people, I don't say it. I don't give away anything unless you ask me. That's a hard lesson I had to learn. And every time I did say or you know communicate what I felt or saw with a person, I got the you know. So that really taught me to hone it down, zip it. Only when people ask, you say. Well, so to give you a picture, I had these skills, I had the experience, I had some knowledge, and of course, I'm just human. I'm not Jesus, so I had my own struggles during life as well. And during that period, when I started my company, um, the issue I had is I had a partner, and my partner fell into a psychosis. And I saw that she had what we call in our tradition an entity. So we believe that we have all types of different life forms around us. And we have physical life forms, And we also have energetic life forms. And as we have different sizes and different qualities to the physical life forms around us, we also have those in the energetic realm, in the spiritual realm. So we can have some entities that are small and, you know, they're bad for you, but they won't cause that much damage.
Okay.
And we have entities who can absolutely ruin your life. Well, we also have a lot of good spirits, but too bad she didn't have any of those. She had a bad one, a bad entity. And we categorize them into level one, two, three, and four. And level one, we can compare it to a mosquito. You know, it comes onto your scent, sucks some blood, and then leaves you alone. So many people walking around, I would say 90% of the population has at least a level one entity. And usually they enter when you're in a low frequency state in your life, in deep depression, deep sadness, hate, anger, judgment, these things, because these emotions, if they're carried too long, they create holes in your energy field. And through those holes, they'll find your way and nest into the body and live off of your life force. Well, if those holes don't close, then obviously you're going to attract bigger entities. So some people also have level two entities. And these are a little bit meaner because they have an impact on your um, your mental clarity. They tend to cloud your mind, make you feel tired, make you feel foggy. So if you have those, you know, some people who struggle with a constant feeling of oh, I'm tired, or I just feel like, you know, I'm stressed and they can't get out of it, usually they have some type of entity. They can go next to that is level three. Level three entity is a lot more powerful. It's not easy to remove. A level three entity has the capability of influencing your mind, your thoughts, and emotions because it likes to nest in your spine along your central nervous system and sends electrical impulses through your nervous system up to the brain. So you can have certain thoughts like, I'm suicidal, when in reality you don't really feel suicidal, but that there's this voice inside your head that keeps saying kill yourself, you know, or you're not worth it, or nobody loves you, or you're just a sad piece of shit. So they're like this is like there's like a voice that keeps pulling you down and bringing you down, and you might have
Why
periods
does
where
the entity want you to kill yourself? Doesn't the entity need you to be alive to stay within your body so it can feed off that energy? Why does it want you to kill yourself?
yeah, a level three entity definitely needs your life. That's correct, because the lower your frequency is, the weaker your energetic field is going to be. You have to see it almost like a light bulb that you plug in. When the voltage is very low, you're only going to get a dim amount of light,
Yeah.
and a dim amount of light is doesn't have the capacity to push away darkness, so to say, the opposite frequency. And that same thing accounts for us. So when a person is happy and in love with life and grateful, then there's a lot of voltage in that light bulb. He's going to radiate, and entities won't have a chance to enter into his field. But once an entity has entered, it's going to try to keep you in that low frequency for as long as possible so it can keep feeding off your energy. So, good question. You said, why would it want you to kill yourself? There is a level of entity that doesn't necessarily want your life force, it wants your soul. That's what we call a level four entity. I know that in some religions they might even call that a demonic force. Well, because we feel like the word demon has a very heavy connotation and in a way also gives power to the entity, we don't call it an entity. We just call it a nuisance, a level four nuisance. What is important to know is that we don't view these things as good or bad. I know many people like to go into the spiritual righteousness of, oh, bad spirits, good spirits. Yeah, we have those names for them, but we don't like to associate them necessarily with good or bad because the truth is, when you get an entity, there's a lesson in there. The lesson is that you should have boundaries and you should take better care of yourself. And if you never encountered that entity, you would have probably never learned that lesson. So there's a benefit of encountering an entity. Another thing you can also view it as is everything in this universe is just seeking an opportunity to be alive. When a mosquito comes, smells your blood, and then sucks it out, you can't be angry with the mosquito of living off you. It's what it's designed for by nature. Is it good for you? No, it's not good for you. So we should remove it because it can give you dengue, it can give you malaria, so we should remove it. Same thing goes for if you have parasites, you know. You can hate parasites, but they're part of nature, and in a way, they play their role in our ecosystem. Are they good for you? No, they're not good for you. So we have to flush them out. But what's the lesson? The lesson is you need to take care of yourself, your emotions, your body, otherwise you get parasites. So in that same way, we view entities. No matter how evil they can sometimes be, they have their role to play.
Yeah.
Well, to continue the story, the partner I had a level 4 entity. And I never encountered such an entity before in my life. So level 4 entity wants you to kill yourself and, if possible, other people. Because I don't know how, they have the capacity to capture that soul and then live off that soul. They have no interest in your life force. It's not strong enough to feed them. So you can imagine at that time was very difficult time for me to go through because I was seeing and noticing things from which I knew that there's another issue here. But in the clinic, they were saying, "Oh no, she just has a mental problem. She needs to take these pills." Like that was going to solve the problem. So we went through a whole program to like get her out, and I was trying to be as compliant as possible. And towards the end, I think after 3 months of her being in that clinic, when they said she was free to go, I went to pick her up, and I heard that she was cheating. Well, that struck me, of course, because I thought, wow, I'm in this relationship, taking care of a person I really care for, and now that we've kind of finally had a success together, I discover, this backlash, and that had a very profound emotional impact on me, and I didn't have the strength to come out of it. I think my biggest issue that I had at that moment was I wasn't even angry with her or sad with her. It was the disappointment that I had in myself. How was it possible that I didn't see it coming? I could feel and see so many things around me that other people couldn't. And how is it possible that I couldn't see that something was wrong in this relationship? So the biggest issue I had in that moment was being disappointed in myself. And I just couldn't snap out of it. I remember I couldn't even sleep. So much in my head. I never drank in my life. I started drinking vodka just to fall asleep. You can imagine that's a problem. So I had friends and they told me, hey,
Are you
you need to
drinking it
seek some
now?
peace.
Because you were like, ah, I was drinking vodka and like you took a sip. Is that vodka?
Cheers, cheers, mate. No, no, it's water. And they said, you know what, you need to seek out help. And I refused. I said, no, I'm fine. I can help myself. But as weeks went by, I was hanging in a dark cloud and I couldn't seem to shake this heavy feeling. So what I did is I listened to their advice and I went to get help. And I ended up spending time with an old shaman. And I did my first ceremony with him, which was a very intense experience. And he told me at the end of that ceremony that it was my job to become a healer. Obviously, I resisted. I didn't want to. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was scary because after what I just experienced with the level 4 entity and having my own experience with psychedelics, and mind you, when I knocked on his door, he said to me, I've been waiting for you with a big smile. And he let me inside of his house. When I went to sit down on the couch, he smiled at me and said, why are you here? I told him I'm having troubles, problems, blah, blah. My friend sent me here. He laughed and he told me, no, that's not the question. I asked you, why are you here?
Mm.
And at that time, I didn't get the question. I didn't know the deeper meaning of his question. So then he told me, you know what, go outside, make the fire. We're going to look at your problems. So that's what I did. I went into his garden, made the fire, and later he came out with a guitar and 2 cups. He said, here, drink this. So what's in this? Reminding you, I never heard of plant medicine. I didn't know what it was. I had suspicions because I'd seen things throughout my own youth, but we have a certain secrecy in the family that we keep these things away from the youth until they are interested themselves.
This was
So the thing
where?
that
Like,
I'm doing,
what age were you and where was this?
I was 19 or
Okay.
so at the time, and this was in the Netherlands.
This was in the
Funny enough,
Netherlands.
this was in the
You
Netherlands. Yeah,
found a shaman through some connections. You found out about him living there and you went.
yeah, yeah. And he was old. He was like 82 years old, and he came from Colombia. His name was Taita Maui, and he came from the Kofan tribe, which is a tribe that lives in Putumayo, and they have a certain, how you say, they have a different type of ayahuasca. They call it yahe, so it has a different combination of ingredients.
Okay. What's the
And when
difference?
I asked, we'll get to that later, yeah, for sure.
One
When
more
I
thing.
asked, yeah,
Did you have any psychedelic experience before this? Like any mild stuff, LSD, mushrooms, anything like that? Or was this the first psychedelic
no, no.
experience?
I did smoke weed when I was in
Okay.
middle school, and I quit smoking weed because it it's gonna be difficult to explain. It's like it opened my senses more.
Sure.
For example, I remember being in a container, and when I smoked, um, I had these neighbors, in an apartment block all around me, and the moment I smoked, I could feel everyone's drama around me. So after a few years, I quit because I noticed that if I smoked, it was only the best thing for me to do was just go into the forest, be alone, listen to music. But that's not a very productive way to live your life. So, I quit at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
So he came outside with his two cups and he asked me, I asked him what's in the cup. And the thing he told me was every wizard has its own magic potion.
Yeah.
That's all the information I got. So that's very different compared to the luxury that many people today have because you can go on Google and search up psychedelics and then watch videos and then read reviews and then you have a preparation protocol and you can call people and ask for information. So there's a whole a process of preparing yourself.
Yeah, like the
Well, I didn't
people
have
watching this video.
exactly.
Funnily enough.
I didn't have that. He just said, "Here, drink up. Every wizard has his own magic potion." I was like, "Oh my god."
Okay.
This might be one of the dumbest things I've ever do because there is a chance that tomorrow, after drinking this drink, tomorrow I'm going to be waking up on the street with my pants down and a dildo up my butt.
Did you
I was
really have
very,
that thought in your head? Like that
I
thought
really,
was there.
I really had that thought. Like I'm at an old man's house. I don't know who he is, what he does. I'm about to drink something I don't know what's in it. Like this is the thing my mother warned me for throughout my life. So, but there's also this other voice in my head that says, you know what, trust. You've come here for a reason. And I drank it. I drank it and I had a profound experience, which I'll try to share in short. I think the first thing that happened is I got a wave of anxiety over me because thoughts start racing, you go everywhere, and you kind of lose sense of what's happening. And I could hear his voice in my head telling me to surrender, almost like he was capable of looking into my body and mind as I was laying there.
Mm.
And mind you, he's just sitting 2 meters away from me playing the guitar and singing. And at some point, the colors start coming in, the vision. First it was black, and then far in the distance, I see a colored snake-like being coming towards me with all the colors of the rainbow. And as it got closer toward me, it turns into a dragon. And now there's this very intense fear that comes over me because this dragon was huge. And the dragon starts coiling around me, around me, around me, and I could feel it like suffocating me. So I wanted to scream for help and call the old man to come help me. And it was like magic. I hear his voice inside my head telling me, it's okay. Don't be afraid of your own power. And I realized, I suddenly had this realization that when I was a kid, from as young as I can remember, I had an obsession with dragons. I am painting a very big dragon on the wall in one of the bedrooms there right now. Once I have the chance, I'm going to send you a picture because it would be nice to like add it maybe to the podcast or something so people can see. And I realized that I had this crazy fascination with dragons. I'm like, holy shit, this is really, I'm seeing a dragon. I'm feeling it, I'm seeing it, I'm experiencing it. So I opened myself up to the dragon and said, I surrender to you. And then the dragon, his pressure on my body disappeared and he began going into my body. And I became the dragon. And as I became the dragon, I started having memories of my past lives and how I was giving healings in the jungle. And I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, okay, this is all cool and nice, but what do I do with this? It's like very confusing. And then the message came, you have to start your work again. You have to continue where you left off. I was like, how? And the voice came, you will find your way. I saw myself standing in front of a table with traditional clothing and people laying on a therapy table in front of me, and they were changing. Every time they changed, there was a different face. So I could recognize, like, hey, I'm giving healings, and it's going to be thousands of people that I'm going to give healings to. It was like a preview of my future. Then I snapped out of it. I started crying. Many emotions came loose of things that happened in my past. I was capable of letting them go
Mm,
because I realized that, you know, the problems I had in my life, I made them this big, but they were never the real problem. The only problem was I didn't know who I was. I forgot my job. I forgot why I'm here, what my purpose is.
makes sense.
And once I realized that, I was capable of really letting go all the nonsense. Because like it doesn't even matter. I understood his question. Why are you here? Now I really understood it. But of course, that's easier said than done, and you feel amazing once you're like in the trance. But once you come out of it and you come back to planet Earth, you're like, oh my God, how in the world am I ever going to do this? I'm not even capable of managing myself. Then how am I ever going to be capable of managing someone else when they drink this? So he told me, if you don't do it, you're going to feel empty. And that emptiness, nothing is going to fill it. I said, well, yeah, whatever, dude. I went home, picked up my normal life again, you know, my business, treating people with herbs and diet and blah, blah. And
So what were you doing there before we move on? Because you were healing people, the grandmothers, their grandchildren were coming to you. What were you doing with these people? Like what kind of healing, what kind of herbs, what kind of processes? What is this? Because it clearly
so,
worked, like at the time.
yeah. So what I would do is first we start a consult. So they come and sit up in front of me. And see, the moment the person comes to sit in front of me, I get insights. It's almost like I can see in their body and in their energy. And then everything I see and feel, I write it down. And that gives me like a document. And then I explain to them, okay, listen, your kidney's not functioning, and they say that your heart is a problem, but that's not really the problem. You have anger there, blah blah. So you know, I give people a good view of what's actually happening in their energy and body, so they can understand the situation better.
This is all
And then
intuitive. You cannot really explain what you're doing. It's just you're reading it, you feel it, and you write it down, and that's it. It's an
yes,
intuitive
it's
thing. Like
intuitive. Yes, but because I also had, you know, I wanted to go do a physician study. My interest didn't begin there. My interest in physical health started when I was very young, because
okay.
my biological father, he was always into fitness and diet. My mother was always into herb, and I was brought up with that. So I had a lot of like how you say medical knowledge as well next to my intuitive skills. So let's say, for example, if I saw that a person has cold kidneys, let's say I see that intuitively, then I would know medically that the person is suffering from exhaustion because the kidneys are not filtering properly. They're sluggish, they're slow, the metabolism is down. So I had a very nice way to bridge spirituality with medical science, and then make it more logical, more graspable for the people. And based off of that, I tell him like, hey, there are some things you could do. I don't think we can fix your problems because a lot of problems are emotional and you have to do the work yourself. I cannot fix your traumas and emotions because I do believe that the number one reason people get sick, first and foremost, is the carrying of emotions, unresolved emotions. But there is a way to mitigate and manage, and in many cases, limit the negative effects of certain diseases and physical imbalances. And plants, herbs, and proper diet, a proper lifestyle, and removing toxic people from your life, starting to exercise, seeking out more sun, doing things that make you happy, like all these things,
Mm,
a whole lifestyle switch can do miracles without you needing to drink ayahuasca and blah, blah.
true.
And I still think that. I still have a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, I want to drink ayahuasca. I want to drink this. And I tell them, no, you don't need that. You need to get your lifestyle in order because you have so many things that you can still change. Your life quality would exceed by 100%.
You can still get a lot of gains before hopping on the steroids in the gym. Like you can just still get a lot of gains
Yes.
naturally before you use the testosterone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you're going to go straight onto sauce, once you're finished, you're just going to fall back into old patterns because you didn't do the work prior.
The basic foundation. Yeah.
Yes. Which is what you see with almost 90% of the people that are working in the psychedelic realm.
Mm.
Well, that aside, you can't control that. The only thing you can do is just give your advice and then hope people listen. That's all you can do. But yeah, um, that was basically the work I was doing. I was doing the consults and then helping them change their life. So that was all I was doing really. And then after my own ceremony, blah blah, the shaman was right. He was my first teacher. We call a teacher like that. We call a maestro. My maestro was right because after 2 weeks, I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I felt like shit. I felt like my happiness was just gone, and the work that made me feel fulfilled wasn't fulfilling me anymore. So I went to his house, knocked on the door. He opened immediately, and he said, "There you are. What took you so long?" Because he knew I would return. I went to sit down with him, and what it came to was that I had to do a special diet. So you take a very strong plant that has certain spiritual qualities, and you have a very limited way of living. No salt, no sugar, no caffeine, no sex, no masturbation, no social contact, no going out with friends, no crowds, no music, no television, no social media, no movies. So your life becomes very quiet, very bland, and allows you to really go inside. It's almost like you're doing a fast, but the fast you're doing is everything that triggers your body or energy in the slightest way, you avoid it. And then you go into this relationship with this one plant. And that plant is going to start teaching you and coaching you depending on what qualities that plant has.
How is this
And
like for what kind of period? For how long do you do this fast?
this was the longest dieta I had ever done, and it was 8 months.
And you are consuming the plant along the way, or how do I see it?
So my diet at the time was eggs and rice, and that was the only thing I was eating 2 times a day. Maybe with some broccoli or like some steamed potato, but that's it.
Yeah.
And you can imagine at some point that becomes very like doesn't taste like anything because mind you, you're not allowed to use any other herbs or spices or salt or nothing nor sauces. So after like 2 months, I was like, I couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
And then every day you take that medicinal plant that
Okay.
you're working with. So I at that time was taking it every day in the morning immediately when I woke
Can
up.
you say
And
what
that,
this plant was, what this medicine
yes,
was?
yes, the name is called chichaha,
Uh-huh.
and that plant was supposed to open up my my memories so I could begin giving healings again and
How
working
do
with
you
plant medicine.
consume this plant?
You make a tea.
You make a tea. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The plant is first taken, and then it's softly boiled and then fermented a bit, and then you drink it. It doesn't taste amazing, but it does the job.
No, exactly. And he gave this to you. He knew,
Yeah,
okay, take this, go on this diet. 8 months.
yeah.
What happened? You did it 8 months. What was happening in this period?
I did eight months, and I noticed first and foremost that my job of helping people became significantly better because I started having dreams before a person came to me. So let's say you have cancer. Um, before, let's say we have an appointment on Tuesday, right? And it's Monday night. Monday night when I go to sleep, I'll have a dream that tells me that you have cancer, where you have the cancer, and what herbs and what things we need to do to fix the problem. Also, what caused the cancers. So my work suddenly became a lot easier because now you have the dreams and the consult the next day where you scan the body again. We call it the body scan, and you get the same things as you received in the dream. So it was like a confirmation that my work is doing well. So that's the first thing that changed, the dreams. Um, then I would say the second thing was the confidence, because I knew certain things, but I was always very sketchy and careful with helping and guiding people because of my past, because I was bullied. And I taught myself throughout my life to shut up and don't say everything. Well, the Jaha diet switched that. It was like, no, you speak your truth. If you see something, if you feel something, say it. They came for your help, say it. And if they don't like it, they're not ready for healing. They're not ready for growth. Let them go. So I think that was the second thing. That was the second thing. And the third thing was I got out of the diet was my relationships changed because I had certain friends that were not capable, not how you say, matching with the life where I was headed. So a lot of people dropped off, a lot of family members dropped off, and my circles became very small. I would say that diet really did what it had to do. It narrowed down the direction of my purpose and really brought all focus on healing and helping other people heal. Yeah.
During this period, were you still healing the people in the same way as before, or were you giving them like,
No, I was doing it in the same way as before.
yeah,
And
but from a different state,
yes,
obviously.
I was, yes, more aware, very more clear. Like, because I remember that I needed to have the person in front of me to read them out. But ever since I've done the diet with the person with that plant, I don't need to see the person. I don't need to have a name. That person can be on the other side of the world. If somebody comes today knocking on and say, "Hey, I have a sister who lives in China, and her name is I don't know Claudia. Can you do a body scan?" Sure, I'll do it. 10 minutes. I send the paper. Here, this is what she needs to do.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know, but
Uh,
it took 8 months to get there of very strict discipline and following the rules and going through that process.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have
Well,
maintained that since then? The skill?
I've been,
Ma
yeah, I've been doing that
no,
since that, and
you've maintained the skill of being able to read people uh
yeah,
over distance. You can do that. So you can like anyone from all over the world, they can do a Zoom call with you and you can help them. You don't need to have them in front of you anymore.
no, no, a Zoom call can do fine. Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
benefits to having them in front of you? Like, can you gain more data? Can you help them better in person? Or does it really not matter?
I think the benefit is that after the body scan and that you start discussing certain things, some of the things that you're going to say are going to be emotionally very difficult for people to hear. And when you are in person, it's more easy to comfort that person. For example, um, a girl came here and um, she had problems with her wombs, with her, I say,
Yeah. Yeah.
womb matriz. Yeah. And she wanted to get it removed. Well, she had so much complications that the doctor said it's better if you let your womb get removed. She was like, no, it's my womb. It's my part of my feminine self. I don't want to have it removed. So she came here seeking out help. And she had done meditations where she would ask, like, what is the reason that my womb is damaged like this? And she would keep seeing her father. And but she didn't tell me this. And then when I was in the process with her, I told her, your womb is damaged because your father raped you when you were a child. Well, you can imagine that this came as a shock because, first of all, I didn't tell her, but she kind of already knew herself because of, the insights she had in her own process. But still, it's a hard emotional slap. But when you're uh, in a physical space with that person, you can hug that person, you can comfort that person, say like, hey, it's okay, we can work through this, and you can give them a sense of I'm not alone, and I have help. And I feel like that's very difficult when you have a Zoom call because when a person outside of the world, they tend to feel like I'm really alone. This is like something the problems I have is really something I have to deal with on my own. So I prefer when people come into the physical space and we do things face to face because that just makes it a lot more um, heart heart centered to work with people.
Yeah, but that's from the patient side of things, but I mean, from your side, it doesn't matter if I understand correctly. Like in terms of reading what is going on.
No, in fact, I don't. I think even in my case, it would probably be the opposite.
You mean it's better virtually? Like you can
Yeah,
read
I
them
think.
better virtually?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Tell
think
me more.
the more emotional distance I have between me and the person, the more clear my side is. Because um, you always want to see the best in people.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
people tend to wear masks, and when they meet you in person, they are so fixated on having a good first impression that they don't really show what's underneath. So I know that I'm always most certain of what's really going on when I don't meet them, because then I know that what I'm receiving is pure intuition and not my biased opinion of what I've seen when I met the person. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Let me give you an example. When a person comes here, um, all nice and clashy and happy, bubbly, that's the first impression. So my first impression is biased. I try not to look like that. I try to say not non-judgmental, of course, but I'm human, and you help because you care. So you take that first impression into consideration automatically.
I
So
understand.
what I do is if I have an appointment, I'm gonna do your body scan before you come into the door, because then I have your first impression after I did the intuitive reading. Because now I know for sure that what I saw with you is not linked, my bias of you is not linked with what I saw intuitively.
So what do you need to do that body scan? Do you need their name? What kind of data do you need? Do you need a picture? What do you need?
A name or a picture. Yeah,
Really? And that's enough. Like if you have a name or a picture and you can know.
yeah. But I have to say,
That's
I'm not a saint. So I don't know everything. If a person has secrets because the person did certain things in their life, then I will know and I will write down this person has secrets, dark history, doesn't want to show, doesn't want to reveal. So I know that part. But what the secret is, because they have closed themselves off energetically so that no one can see what their secret is, I cannot see it either.
yeah.
And in a way, sometimes I think that's a good thing also, because I don't think I would want to know some of the things people do to other people.
Yeah.
Um, so that's like one of the things. And sometimes actually a lot of times I see things and I feel things that I don't understand yet. So I might see energies or feel certain emotions and things, or I can even see moments like play, like memories. But I can't put my finger on it and be like, hmm. It's almost like I'm getting puzzles, like fragments. And I can 80% of the fragments I can put together and put a layout, but there are always some things that I can't pinpoint. If a person decides to go into a process with us and go through healings and ceremonies, blah blah, throughout the week, for sure, we're going to discover what those missing, what the leftover puzzle pieces were, what they entail, what they stand for, and we're going to be able to complete the puzzle. Because each day when we go into the process with you, we're going to get new information, and we're going to go just a level deeper and a level deeper and a level deeper.
Mm.
This has to do with the fact that they're healing, so they're capable of going deeper into themselves as well, but also that there's a level of trust that's being built between the patient and the guide. And that level of trust then again also allows us to look deeper into what it is that they're carrying or hiding.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very fascinating stuff, everything.
Yeah.
What do you when because we haven't talked much, but you mentioned that seeing a picture or a name is enough. What do you see or feel when we're speaking? I'm really curious about that, if you don't mind sharing.
I think it's best to do that in private. Yeah.
Why do you believe that?
Because I think the number one thing that we always focus on is privacy. This is why also the reason why we don't do group ceremonies. Everything we do is private. If you want to do an energy limpieza, it's private. If you want to do a consult, it's private. Even if you're coming to do a consult regarding your marriage or relationship, don't
Mm,
bring your partner, we're going to do you separately and then your partner separately. Because I feel like the things sometimes we say has to do with integrity, you know, because the things that we're saying, 50% of things we're going to say are probably things you already know yourself, but don't like getting out there. And 50% of things I'm going to say, maybe you already knew, but you didn't really understand. You can pinpoint it. It's more like a feeling or a way of life or a phase of your life, and you don't understand why you're still there. And when we pinpoint it, so it's almost like you're bringing your life to the surface. To the surface. We have a very beautiful saying for it here in the family. We say we bring out your truth, and I know that sounds like a very easy thing to say because everybody talks about talking the truth, but it can go quite deep because we have programs running from when we were a child. We take on patterns from our parents, from our environment, and we're even when we think we're in spiritual work and we're trying to be conscious and things are always going to be things that we're doing that are not okay with our sense of authenticity, with our sense of integrity, with our sense of self-love. And those are the things we look for when we are doing a body scan. Those are things we're trying to pinpoint and communicate with the person when we're doing a body scan. You
So you're
know?
talking about the privacy of the person undergoing the process, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And what if that person is fine with that part? Like, then you don't have to be concerned, right?
No, because we also see that there's always the case where a person can be fine with it now and then regret it later.
Regret what? Sharing it publicly?
Yes. And see if you can. So, for example, let's say you do a reading with me separately and you want to record that you can always put that online if you want to. And if you want to remove it later, you can just remove it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you know
yeah.
what I mean? But if we do it now, then yeah, you're gonna have to bring down the whole podcast.
No, 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 definitely not. Because,
Or you're gonna cut it out.
yeah, but I don't think I will mind because the reason I want to do this public stuff, the podcast stuff, is because I like I know how much it has changed my life when people that have been through crazy deep shit, like you yourself, you are here sharing your story with everyone. And it
Yeah.
has helped me a lot to hear people's stories, to hear people's processes. And I know they had difficulties sharing it, but it has helped me so much and it has helped thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, like big speakers, like speakers that are like talking about their journey and what they went through and inspiring others. And I believe that by sharing, even though it is difficult, because I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, like it's very nice to share with the world like your deep shit, but I know it can help so many people. I know, like, when I was going through really dark times and I saw people online talking about their story of how they went through something similar, it made me feel not alone. It made me feel, okay, like, yeah, I can make it through because this other person made it through. So that's kind of like the intention behind the whole public thing, if that makes sense. It is like maybe it can help someone, even if it's hard for me. That's kind of like where it's coming from. But I totally understand the privacy thing. But I want you to know from my side, it's also difficult, but I know it is going to help others. And if it's really too much, I can cut it. And the most important stuff in the podcast will stay in there and it will be shared. So,
Okay. Well, then I suggest we just do it like this. I would say let's continue the podcast, and then towards the end, so the last part, we're gonna do the body scan,
lovely. Okay.
and then have that as a finisher. And then people who want to watch that, they can just watch or move
Yeah.
towards the end, and then for now we can just continue the conversation.
Perfect.
Um, Also good to know. It does take some time to do the body scan, of course. So I'll be busy writing on a piece of paper, like if you want me to do it like the conventional style, the way I do with everybody, it's going to take some time because first we're going to scan the energy system to see how it is, and then we're going to scan the physical body. So we're going to look at your organs primarily to see how they are functioning and how they are related to the energy body. So the energy body is not some woo-woo thing. It's just your sense of emotions
Yeah.
and memories that are locked into that field.
I honestly think that doing that live here, because I know a lot of people are going to be watching it, and I asked you, like, okay, what is it kind of like that you do with the body scan? And you explained it, but I'm very sure that people that are very unfamiliar with this kind of like side of work and healing and plant medicine, everything like that, it's still going to be very vague to them. So I think it's going to actually be really cool for them to see like it happening
Sure,
live in action, right? And it's gonna
sure.
give them like the right, idea about what this whole thing is instead of it being this woo like vague thing.
I get
But
it. Yeah,
yeah, so I really appreciate that you want to do that, and that's amazing, man. And I'm sure it's gonna give a lot of people clarity what it actually is. It's gonna make it more tangible, like you were saying. You said
yeah.
graspable. I think the word is
Tangible.
tangible. That's the word, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
that's let's continue the conversation. I want to touch on when we talked privately about plant medicine. I felt the calling to do a ceremony, like to do ayahuasca again. And I texted you immediately. I was like, I want to do it. Are you in the Netherlands? I would like to do a session with you. And you said, no, you're not in the Netherlands. I told you, okay, but I really feel the calling, and I can't go travel right now, like in this phase of my life. It wasn't working. I told you, do you know anyone in the Netherlands? You said, well, I doubt what most people do, like how they do it in the Netherlands. I don't really know someone specific for you, and that's where it ended. And I was like, okay, F it. I'm still gonna do it because I feel the calling. So I went ahead and I did it. And I want to talk to you about why is it that you don't recommend people to just do it with a typical ceremony place, for example, here in the Netherlands, and tell us a little bit about that. Yeah.
Hey, viewers, log in because we're gonna get into a lot of information.
Okay.
See, the number one thing is it's not just one reason. It has to do with cultural history, so the use, traditional use of ayahuasca. It has to do with the internal qualities of the ayahuasca itself. It has to do with the preparation of the ayahuasca, and it has to do with the modern way of how, we're doing it in these more modern countries. So first and foremost, what you see nowadays is that people are doing ayahuasca and then coming together in a group to drink ayahuasca.
Yes.
And traditionally speaking, the only reason why ayahuasca was ever drunk in a group was to celebrate something. So let's say you're the chief and you're having a child, then your child is going to be the chief of the tribe because he's the next chief in the bloodline. And what we do is everybody drinks ayahuasca and not too much, just a little bit to connect with the mother spirit. And we dance and we sing and we celebrate. Even the baby gets a little bit of ayahuasca in the mouth so you can connect with the tribe, the tradition, the mother spirit, and we celebrate. So that was like one of the reasons that ayahuasca was used in group settings.
Okay.
Another reason that ayahuasca could be used in a group is maybe uh, the season has changed. Maybe we're going from a dry season to wet season to rain season. And the healer, which we call a curandero, specifically when he works for ayahuasca, we call ayahuasquero, he's going to drink ayahuasca together with the hunters. So it's going to be a small group. And we're drinking to see what animals are we allowed to hunt this season and what animals do we need to leave alone. That way, the jungle communicates with us how we can help maintain the natural balance of the ecosystem. Because if we only hunt pork the whole year, every year, then there's not going to be any pork left. But if one season you hunt pork and deer, and then the other season you hunt piranha and caiman, like crocodiles, then by changing that rhythm, we allow the natural ecosystem to rebuild the amounts of animals it has. So that was the reason, another reason why ayahuasca could be drunken together in a group.
Okay.
Then why, then why would ayahuasca be drunk um, in private?
Mm,
Healing. If a person needed healing, it was always in private.
mm,
So let's say, for example, you're a father and your son goes out hunting with you and a jaguar gets him. The chance is very small, by the way. I know many people say, "Oh yeah, jaguar in the Amazon." The chance that you ever meet a jaguar in Amazon is going to be very small because they can
Okay.
smell you from a mile away. But let's say that's the case, huh? And your son dies. See, you're going to be totally devastated because as a father, you just lost your child. But the healer knows that the well-being of the community has to do with the well-being of each and every single individual.
Of course.
This is something we've lost in modern day
Oh,
civilization. We say, oh no,
100%.
say, oh, society isn't sick. Well, let's be honest. If every person has a problem, this person has depression, this person has cancer, this person has if every person has some physical or mental problem, then the society is sick.
Of
And the
course.
healer knows. So the healer tries to protect the health of the tribe. So I will take you in private. The tribe doesn't have to be there because this is your pain. This is your loss, your grief. We're going to drink ayahuasca together. And in that ceremony, we're going to open a portal so you can speak with your son, so you can say your goodbye. Yes, you'll still have pain, sadness, and grief, but because you were able to communicate with him in the spiritual world, at least you can now come to the acceptance that this has happened, which allows you to move with the frequency of the tribe again and not stay stuck in that traumatic event. So that's the job of the healer. Like I said, no one has to be there. This is between you, me, and the spirit of your son. Okay, what could be another example? Let's say you go into the jungle and you get bitten by a snake. Well, you're probably gonna die because there are many poisonous snakes in the jungle. So what do we do? I have ayahuasca. Coincidence, maybe. I don't know. I don't believe in coincidence. Here I have a bottle. This bottle is filled with a powder, and it's called Gergon sacha. Gergon sacha is anti-snake venom. So we mix this with ayahuasca. You drink it, and then we move the venom out of your body. You puke it. You live. Does
You
the
have
tribe
that
have?
stuff laying around. Is there like a lot of snakes where you are? Like, is that
No,
a
I no. You can use it for different things as well. And somebody came just now and was bitten by a scorpion.
wow?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I didn't use it with ayahuasca. I just put it to topical, and then
Of
it pulls
course.
out the venom.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Go ahead.
but the tribe doesn't have to be there. You know that process of you healing from that snake bite is between you and me. Let's say you get an infection, which, by the way, the number one reason people die in the Amazon is not animals, it's an infection because infection rates are, it's very easy to pick up an infection in a very humid environment, if you can imagine. But another reason could be, for example, let's say you go into a cave in the jungle, or maybe somewhere here on the island, where you're not supposed to go because there are certain creatures that live in the cage, certain spiritual beings. I have a good example. Somebody came to me, and that person was having terrible nightmares. And he said he was having sleep paralysis and blah blah. And I tried removing because I thought maybe he has an entity. I tried removing it with a special smoke, which we call mapacho, which we specifically use for entity. We use it for a lot of things, but specifically works very well for entities. But I couldn't get it removed. So then I realized this is not an entity. So I tried communicating with it, and I noticed that it was willing to communicate with me. So then I said, you know what? Let's drink the ayahuasca. So we both drank the ayahuasca so I could see the spirit. And the spirit was what we call a duende. And a duende is a creature that lives in trees. It's not necessarily we call it a trickster spirit because it likes tricking people. It likes working on their nerves. And if you make them angry, yeah, they can become quite a nuisance. So what did this guy do? He cut off the tree where the duende was living in, and he never asked permission for the tree to be cut down. He didn't do any offering, no nothing. And this is our traditional way of doing it because we know if you just cut something and some creatures can live there, yeah, then it might happen. Chance is small, but it might happen that you go home with something extra.
Yeah.
And he had a way to apologize, and I gave him the instructions of what he had to do. He had to do an offering, blah blah. And then the duende left him alone, and I made a deal with the duende that the duende could come live with us. So I have the duende as a roommate right now. Um, and funny, you will see the duende throughout every Latin culture, maybe just a different name, but from all the way up to North American Indians to all the way down part of South America. The stories of the tree spirit who are a little bit tricksy, and
Does it have a
can give you
look?
nice.
Like, does it look a certain way? Like, is there an
Yes,
image?
yes,
Can I
definitely.
look that
I think
up, or what?
yes, definitely. I think most people would compare it to a gnome
Wait, what
in
do I
English.
type? Gwende?
Duende is like D and then U, A, N, D, A.
Duende. Okay, let me see if I find it. Hmm. I'll share
I
my.
have to say you're probably gonna get some images that
I got
probably
I got some cartoon stuff, but maybe I can like. Is it? I got this.
mind, mind you, it's a spiritual being, so it doesn't have a physical form.
Okay.
I'm gonna go,
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to the screen so I can see you because I went.
This is the images I got.
I would I would say that this one is quite a good one actually.
This one is good.
This one, yeah, this one looks exactly like the one he had, and that now lives in my room.
This is
Yeah,
the Duende. This one. This
yeah.
is your roommate right now.
I'm still finding a way of giving him a new home, but he has kind of how you say
Interesting.
he likes it here a little bit too much. So I'm afraid he's not going to be so easily convinced to find another tree. But that's okay.
You have a tree for him inside?
No, 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 no. That's the whole point. I try motivating him to move on, but he has
Exactly.
grown a certain affection for us, which is fine because, like I said, he's not a bad spirit. You just have to keep in mind that you don't trigger his temper. That's all.
Does this guy have a level? Like, is this level one? Or
No, but duendes can different a lot in their personality because just like us humans, you can meet a person who's like
okay,
very
makes
groggy and afraid of the world and blah blah, and you can meet a duende who's very kind and innocent and nice, but they generally all of them do have a temper, so you should be mindful of how you act. Yeah.
of course. It's just you have a relationship. Okay, cool.
But to continue the
Let's continue.
story,
Yeah.
that's like one of the reasons then that you drink ayahuasca. There's a famous documentary right now. I think it's
Okay.
called Lost or something. But a few kids that were lost in the jungle, and then the military went looking for them, and indigenous people went looking for them, and no one could find them. And because the plane crashed, everybody died, and the children survived. And they found their stuff scattered throughout the jungle, so they knew that they were somewhere. And what ended up happening is they went to a shaman to ask, "Can you help us?" And the shaman drank ayahuasca, and with ayahuasca, he saw that the children were taken by a duende, because children, especially indigenous children, because they didn't grow up with technology or in like a modern environment, they grow up in nature. They're very sensitive to these unseen or invisible energies. The younger they are, the more receptive they are to these things. So the shaman said, "Oh, um, they're taken by a duende, but I've made an arrangement. The kids will be at this place tomorrow." I don't know what arrangement he made through the ayahuasca with the duende, but he made some arrangement, and he was right because the next day the children were at that spot at the time as he promised. You can imagine that the people of the army were mind blown because how could he know? How is it possible? They don't even believe in these things. But the indigenous people who were helping the army seeking, looking for the children, for them it was more logical because it's part of their culture. And when the kids were interrogated, they said, "Yeah, there was this creature and he brought us to a cave. And then later on, he told us that we had to go into the jungle and then we were found like this." So that gives you a broader sense of what like ayahuasca was used for, and that's totally different than what you see today. Because today, what we do is, you know what? You want to drink ayahuasca? Sure. You pay, come to the retreat center, and you're going to be in a group with like 30, 40 people. That's not a positive thing. The one person next to you has depression, the other one is like a heroin addict, the other one is suicidal, the other one has like a level 3 entity, and other one over there has anger issues, and that one over, and that's actually the whole room,
Yeah.
right? What many people don't know is that, and you will find this among many, 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 I would say even almost like most indigenous traditions. No matter what shaman you ask, they will tell you every plant has two sides. They have a light side and a dark side. And they don't mind teaching you about light and darkness because they don't see it as good or bad. And depending on what the intention is of the person, or the dominant energy is of the person, they're going to trigger that side of the plant. So you can imagine that if there's a big group and there are many people suffering and they have certain negative and heavy emotions and stuff, then the ayahuasca starts to have a more negative quality, because the ayahuasca is, in a way, tuning into the dominant frequency of the room.
Hmm.
With us people, is the same thing, you know. With all plants, is like that. If you put a plant in a room and everybody in the room is screaming and angry and blah blah, is that going to have a positive effect on the plant
Yeah.
that's in the
No.
room?
No.
I'm talking about a physical plant that you put in
Yeah,
a pot.
yeah, no, I know. Yeah, if you
Oh,
talk to water in a loving way, you can literally
yes,
measure it in the molecules. And if you,
yes,
in a hateful way,
yes,
you can see it's getting very distorted. So yeah,
yes. So if you are in a room with people who respect the plant, who take care of the plant,
yeah,
and they all have a good energy, then that plant is going to do wonderfully. And we don't see the body and the energy and the spirit as separate things. They're all connected as
yeah,
one. So if that has an effect on the body, it will have an effect on the energy and on the spirit as well, just as we have in humans. If you come into a room and everybody's fighting, you're gonna be like, "Ugh," in body, mind, emotion. If you come into a room, everybody's lovely, you're gonna be in body, mind, emotion. So that's the first factor. That the way that ayahuasca was traditionally used is not that's not the case anymore. And there are dangers with that. See, if you're in a group, when you drink any psychedelic plant, your energy opens up. And that's because the plant, its energy connects with you. But the energy of the plant is an open energy. So automatically, when it connects with you, your energy becomes open as well. And the problem with that is, let's say your pain is greater than the person laying next to you, but the person laying next to you has an entity. You have become an easier victim because your pain is greater. You're easier to feed off of. What is the entity going to do? It's going to jump from this person to you. And that happens to a lot of people. I can tell you that 50% of people who come here and say that they want to do some healing process with us, if they drank ayahuasca somewhere else, they're going to have an entity that they picked up during an ayahuasca ceremony. At least 50% of people have that who come here. And we just know, in a way, there's a certain smell that we know, like, you picked this up at an ayahuasca ceremony. The reason also for that is the the how deep the entity has gotten, the possibility of, how you say, of anchoring itself in the body. The body had to be very open for that to happen. It's only one way: psychedelics. And when you ask them, did you do any? Yes, yes, I did this ceremony, this ceremony, this ceremony in a group. Very crazy. How was your experience? Yeah, my experience was very nice. I saw love and light. I said, okay. And afterwards, did your love change? No, not really. Everything was basically the same. So actually, ayahuasca didn't do anything, because in our eyes, when you go into ceremony, you're not supposed to experience love and light. You're supposed to experience your shit, your fears, your shame, your guilt, your anger, your traumas. These are things that are supposed to come up and be released, so that after the ceremony, you feel in a natural state of bliss and love and peace. When you're sober, you're supposed to feel that. That means ayahuasca did the work well. So that's when
oh, okay.
I
Pause for a
that's
second, Zhao. Why do
yeah.
they feel the light and love during the ceremony? What is going on there? What is that?
Good question. The human psyche is always navigated towards experiencing some type of escape.
Hmm.
Especially in modern day world, we see that the first thing people want to do when shit gets hard, when shit hits the fence, is how can I escape this?
I mean,
How can I
sure,
control
yeah,
it?
yeah,
So
true.
often what we want when we're in a state of pain is we want to return to the light. We want to return to the love and to the peace. But in a way, that's escaping, because there is no returning to love and light. You are love and light. There's nowhere to go. Where are you going? You're already there. The thing you need to do is stay in the darkness, face it with your love and light, so you can transform it, so you can become something new. But that's going to be a very confrontational process. And not many people are ready for that process. In fact, I would say most people are not ready for that process, which is why ayahuasca is not for everyone. which is why psychedelics is not for most people. Yeah. Hmm. Another thing, there's a very distinct experience between going into a psychedelic journey mind-based and going through a psychedelic journey heart-based. And I have a 99.99% I say confirmation that I can say everybody who's been here and has done a ceremony with us, at the end they can say, okay, this ceremony that I did was heart-based. The reason for that is because you're with guides who have the capacity to see into your energy and body. So the moment that you drink ayahuasca, you drank my ayahuasca first of all. So my energy is in that ayahuasca. The moment you drink it, I am in your body. Because if I make that ayahuasca 6 days in a row, from morning early to the end of the night, praying over it, giving my good intentions, managing the fire, making sure it's just perfect, doing it with a certain happiness and love, and that energy is going to go into that ayahuasca. And the moment you drink that, my energy is in there and I'm in your body. So when the visions become, when the visions open, I'm going to see everything you're seeing. I'm going to feel everything you're feeling, if not more. That also means that when you are in ceremony and you are in your head, imagining things or visualizing things or just reacting to everything or confused, I will know. And I will
Mm,
come to you and say, hey, drop, go back to your heart. No judgment, no control, no attachment, surrender, go through the process. And when the cleaning is almost over and you are in that state of going towards the end, bliss, and ayahuasca is calming down, I will tell you now is the moment to start asking your questions. Now is a good time to receive answers. Now is the good time to communicate with ayahuasca. Because when you go into an ayahuasca journey, it's not one journey. The journey has phases, and every phase has different parts where it's best to do something. The
yeah.
beginning phase we call the incubation phase. That's where thoughts are going to pop up and random images and random feelings, and you're going to feel restless and nauseous. That's the worst time to ask questions. You're not supposed to ask ayahuasca anything in that moment because she's just busy going into your system. You need to shut up, breathe, and just push through. That's what you have to do. And then when that moment switches and you feel suddenly how ayahuasca is moving through your body and opening things up and emotions are being released and you start purging, that's the phase where you need to be grounded, where your roots go into the earth, where you stay focused on the heart, where you keep breathing and just surrender. Still not a good moment to ask question, just surrender. And if the only question you need to ask ayahuasca is, how can I help you in this process? How can I help you heal me? And she will give you instructions on what to do. Go lay on your
Wow.
side.
Wow.
Go
Wow.
lay on your back. Put your hands in the air. Breathe. Put your hands on your chest. Do you remember this moment? Go back to that moment. And she's guiding you. And when you have released certain things and you suddenly feel like that physical purge, energetic purge has going quiet down,
Mm,
and you begin to feel like, I feel reborn. Now is the moment to start asking your personal questions. What's my path? What's my purpose? How can I be a better father? Should I stay with my partner? Yes or no? Like these questions, now is a good time because now you're going to get an honest and real question. Because the moment you're in those previous phases, in your head, in pain, in nauseousness, and blah blah, whatever question you're going to ask, 90% of the time it's your mind that's going to answer you, and you don't even know whether it's your mind, your heart, or ayahuasca. So you're just going to assume because you're in trance that it's ayahuasca. You know how many people You know how many people we've had coming here saying to us that, yeah, ayahuasca told me I'm a healer?
how many?
Yes,
How many?
yes. See, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there's one way to prove that. It's not going into healings and healing people. It's, are you willing to do the work to become that healer? Because
Yeah.
I am not a healer because I heal people.
Yeah.
I'm healing because of all the work that I do behind the scenes when no one is watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dealing with my own shit, managing my own life, and first and foremost, integrating all the lessons that were given to me through my own process. And if you have a person who says, yeah, I want to become a healer, They want to heal people, but then you say, okay, you need to go on a diet so you live healthier. You need to do dietas. You need to come study with us. You need to learn certain things. You need to learn the plants, the language of the plants. You need to learn about the body, the organs, how the herbs function. Suddenly, they don't want to learn. So then there's this. Then there's the then you can like say they have the conclusion that then it wasn't real. It's just something your mind fabricated. See, if a person has the idea of oh, my wife is cheating, and they see that during ceremony, we know if it's true because we've been trained through years of experience and dietas and rigorous practices to discern what is a lie and what is truth.
Wow.
And that's something we have to maintain. No, it's not something you have it and then no. You have to maintain it because if we don't, we get sloppy, we make mistakes. And in this work, you can't make mistakes because mistakes can ruin people's lives. So you invest a lot. But if another person is like, oh, I saw my wife cheating, blah blah, and I see no. But when I go into the visions and connect with your wife, I see your wife is clean, loyal, she loves you. And then when I tune into the person, I see, oh, but the person has been cheated on before in the past. And when you enter the new relationship, you always had the fear that the partner would cheat. So it's just the fear coming up. And because they're in the head and they can't make a distinction
Oh,
between
that's
what's mind and what's
beautiful
heart.
that you can distinguish that, man, because that is like a big thing. There was a guy in the ceremony that I was in where he was going on a blind date with a woman for the first time in a really long time after he got divorced. And he got a vision in his ceremony, which he told us after the ceremony. He said, I don't know who or what, but I got told that I should ask this woman who I'm gonna go on a blind date with, who I haven't met before. I should ask her to get married to me directly on the first blind date tomorrow. And that's kind of like he was telling the group, I got this vision, I got this thing that I needed to do. And then a day later, he told me that he wasn't gonna do it. Like when he sobered up, he was like, "Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna ask her." So he kind of like retracted on that. But he was gonna do it. That's what the vision was, and it's very like it's a challenge. I would think like, okay, how do you know this is the truth or this is just fabrication? And that's where your work comes in. I would then assume is
Yeah,
like you
let's
help
let's
the person with that.
I think that's one of the parts of my work because it goes way deeper. But
Yeah, of
let's
course.
zone let's hone in on that because that's a very good point that you're making. How do you know? First and foremost, a plant during ceremony will never tell you what to do
Mm.
because to the plants they're teachers and free will is everything. So the only thing they can do is they can show you a scenery, give you a certain emotion, and then let you tune in on that feeling to see if this is for me or not. I will give you an example. Um, I told you that I had like this partner with psychosis and blah blah. We broke up, and I had trust issues after that because I couldn't trust my intuition, blah blah. And I also, but it also made me realize like how was I as a partner? That she cheated means it had something to do with me, right? Maybe I wasn't doing my best to really show up in a relationship. Maybe she didn't feel seen, so I didn't try to blame it on her. I really tried to look in the mirror. And during my ceremony, I was somewhere deep in the jungle of Colombia in the Putumayo area with one of the Kofan tribe members. And I asked during that ceremony, I said, ayahuasca, and we don't call her ayahuasca, we call her Nana. And Nana means grandmother. I said, grandmother, I I want to know who is going to teach me what it means to be a good partner. And then what ayahuasca showed me is two eyes that came forward with the color green, blue, brown, yellow. I was like, oh my God, who in the world has eyes like this? And suddenly I saw an image of me in my house dancing in the kitchen with her. And I couldn't see her face. I saw her from the back, her silhouette, and she fell down. I catched her really quick. She was laughing. We had a beautiful moment. And that feeling and those eyes was just an indication of what I had to look for, what I had to be present for. And then ayahuasca told me if you focus on her, she will never come. If you focus on yourself, you will attract her. See,
Yeah.
this is truth because this is a message. This is heart based, right? There's no ayahuasca saying you need to choose her, blah blah. No, ayahuasca gives a hint, a feeling, and then tells you how you can tune into that alignment if that is what you desire, right? So that's how the heart experiences that experience, and that's what I did. So when I saw her first time was on the beach. I saw someone walking in the distance, and there was a certain recognition. And then when I saw her, I was like, oh no no no, I have to focus on myself. I don't focus on women, blah blah, because she was gorgeous. She was the most beautiful woman I'd seen. So I had to like settle back and just lay back on the chair and just be in the sun like this. I didn't know she was working there. So 5 minutes later, she walked up to the bench and said, "Hey, you need to pay for your beach chair." So I took off my glasses and I looked at her and I saw her eyes. I was like, oh my God, her eyes are brown, blue, green, yellow, like just like in the vision. And my parents, they call me Silvan. Silvan means spirit of the forest. And I asked her what her name was, and her name was Silvana. So that was the confirmation, like, hey, the vision was true. So I asked her to go on a date, and we ended up having a relationship. And from that relationship, I changed in so many ways, so many things that I couldn't change with ceremonies and spiritual work. She helped me change into the man that I am today. So ayahuasca was right. So you can definitely have visions that give you snippets of the truth, parts of the future. But
Mm,
the moment that the plant forces you to do something, it is not truth. It's most likely either your own emotions, mind, and programming, or it's an entity manipulating you to bring you into a deeper state of fear and doubt. And
mm.
I think a good quote that my teacher always said as well is that um, I have to think about how he said it again. Um, Intuition feels more like trust, and if it's an instinct, like a natural programming, usually it has the smell of fear. So, for example, if the man sees the vision of, oh, hey, I need to go to a bride and choose her to marry her, does he have an underlying fear of dying alone, of being alone? Because if that's the case, then that vision is not to be trusted. It should be taken with a lot of salt. I know some people say a gram of salt. No, it should be taken with a lot of salt
Mm.
because it's a big choice. I hope that clarifies.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, it is not so much like a clear thought like of the mind of like do this, but it's more like you go through a process, you genuinely understand it on a feeling level and you conclude it for yourself. It is like your own your heart speaking to you. Um
Yes,
okay.
because
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
say to
your
that.
life is your making.
Mm,
Your life is your making, and your choices decide where you end up. So the only thing the plans can do is show you the outcome of certain choices, and then let you decide what it is that feels right. If you decide to choose a path that's from your mind, from fear, then it can do horrible things. If you decide that it's from a place of love, from the heart, then in reality it doesn't really matter what you choose as long as it feels right in that moment. Because your choice can always change. You're a person that always changes. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's a skill that you need to train to really decipher and
it's definitely
discern.
a skill. It's definitely a skill, man, because if I look at the difference between my very first ceremony versus my sixth, so I haven't done that many, but there's a massive difference in how I handled the first one versus the most recent one. And I can totally imagine that someone that doesn't kind of like study their own inner psyche, also when they're outside of that ceremony room, that they can have a lot of difficulty when they go in that and they can get more damage than good after doing such a ceremony. Because Man, the whole thing, bro, like
I'm happy
it
that you
has been
said
a
this.
crazy journey, man. Maybe a different time, like I can share, but it was insane, and it's definitely a lot of work you are doing yourself. Like you have to navigate that thing. You have to work together with the medicine when you're
Yeah,
laying there. You have to surrender to it. Like there's a lot of things that are going on, and I had to do it alone because like the guides that were there, they were very loving, they were very helpful and everything, but they clearly had no idea what's going on. They clearly like, and there were like 20 people in the room, right? They clearly did not know what is going on. Everything turned out fine in terms of like no one freaking like there was no crazy freak out or whatever, but I mean, you don't know what happened in the subconscious of each and every human, like you said, like an entity entered them or whatever. But they really
you want to
did
go?
not know what was going on and they did not know what to navigate. Like I didn't get any guidance. I got safety, which is amazing. It's like a basic thing. You need to feel safe while doing the thing.
Yeah,
But that was basically where it ended. Like they just like served us the medicine and that was it. They just provided us the safe space to do it. And that was pretty much it. But there was no like education from their side on what is going on. What like if I needed help in that moment, they wouldn't have been able to help me. Like I know that. Thank God, like everything went at the end it went well. But yeah, yeah, I just
and
want
this is exactly why I say that
yeah.
I'm not a fan of group settings, and especially not in like European countries in these
Yeah.
days.
So the group
And
setting thing, I see that they do that as well in Latin America. What is that about? Is that also wrong? Like the tribes that are doing the group ceremonies, right? There's a lot of people that go to Peru to do it there, and they do it in
yeah,
a group setting. So what about that?
okay. So let me explain first and foremost before we go to that. Let me explain to you like when we go into a ceremony. For example, if I go into a ceremony, what do I see? Or my mother, for that sense. To the moment we drink the medicine, um, me and my mother are gonna fall into the trance quicker than you because we already have a stronger connection with ayahuasca. So if we meditate on ayahuasca, we can get in a trance-like state, almost like we drank ayahuasca, because we've drank ayahuasca so many times. It's part of our energy system now, and that's good because that allows us to see into your body energy before you enter into your trance. And based of that, we know what's going to happen during the ceremony. Then there's the next phase. It's when you go into the trance or start going into the trance. And that's when we ground you. So we wrap our roots around you and then pull you into the earth so that you don't swap here into the head, but your experience is very much more body focused. Then the next thing, what's going to happen is when you get into that incubation phase, so like thoughts and memories and feelings, all these things start popping up everywhere before like the real visions begin. Um, that's when the visions are going to begin with us, and the visions that are going to begin with us, we start seeing the topics for that day. Maybe we see your mother, maybe we see your father, maybe we see your youth, your partner, your children, and we know like, okay, this is going to be the topics for your life. And we have a pen and paper, so we write everything down, what we see and what we feel, and we discuss it with you afterwards after the ceremony. And then at some point, the purge begins, and we feel that purge coming because we're going to feel exactly what you're feeling. Right before you're going to puke, I feel like I'm going to puke. But I know it's not mine. I know it's yours. It's just because we're connected energetically, because you drank my ayahuasca. I am in you. So whatever happens to you, I feel it too. Fun fact, I've never puked once. I've drank ayahuasca like I think more than 1,000 times right now, and I've never puked once. This is why also I'm saying like the preparation is so important because if you are healing people but you puke yourself all the time, what does that say about you? It says your mind, energy, and body is not clean. You're not fit to do the work. See, if you're doing healing work, maybe the person has a certain energy and it's very stuck and it's too heavy for the person can't take it out. What we sometimes do is we take that energy and then we puke it out for the person, and then the person pukes out the rest because now it's not so heavy anymore. Now they can get it, they can tolerate it, right? So that's different.
Well, have you done that before? Have you puked for someone before?
Yes.
Do you also consume some ayahuasca when you're treating people or not? Like, do you just let
Only
them?
Only during ceremonies. When we have ceremonies, we drink too.
Yeah, do you drink as much of a dose as the participant or
No, but that's also because we drink a stronger one.
okay, so you do drink with the participant.
Yes, yes,
Oh, okay.
because the abilities we have, they get way stronger, and then we
Yeah.
get to help that person more. And then there's the fact that, ayahuasca is strong, but sometimes not strong enough. Ayahuasca doesn't have the strength to remove most of the entities. A level one or two entities she can remove, but level three, no. And if a level two has been in the body of the person for too long of a time, then she cannot remove it, and we have to remove it. So we work together with ayahuasca because we wait for her command. She will tell us when she's ready, when she's in the correct spot. And
Yeah.
sometimes, uh, let's say the person's going to puke, then my visions are going to change. Maybe I see the color red with black dots and then opening up. Then I know, for example, that the person is going to puke out anger. Maybe it's going to get like all gray-ish and slimy-ish. That's my vision going to be. Then I know, okay, the person has had a past with suppressing emotions, and that suppression is now going to come out. Maybe I see, for example, I see a deep brown, black, sluggish kind of thing, then I know there's a lot of fear and ancestral shit that's now going to come out. If I take the puke based on the smell, I know what emotion has come out. Based on the color, what it looks like, I know what emotion has come out. So sometimes the visions come, but the person is not puking. And it's like ayahuasca saying to me, like, hey, it's not opening up. So then what we do is me or my mother, we start singing. And we have these special songs, we call them Icaros. And with that singing, we strengthen the
Yeah.
vision. But the vision is like an energy grid that's connected to the body energy of the person. So when we strengthen that vision by singing, then suddenly ayahuasca gets more strength and she can take it out of the person clean. And so like this, we're organizing. It's not like we are the healers. No, it's teamwork. The person has to be susceptible, trusting, and in surrender. And together with ayahuasca, we're constantly communicating. She says to us what needs to happen. And sometimes we need to back off. Ayahuasca needs to do it alone. Sometimes ayahuasca can't do it, so we need to do it with the person alone. So it's in that way, it's very complicated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can
So
imagine.
then you can also imagine why you need to do this in private because you cannot do this with 20 people.
Yeah, so why do
It
they
does,
do that in Latin America
I'll-
like that? Yeah.
I will come to that. I will come to that. See it like a doctor. A doctor cannot operate on 20 patients.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
Now, why
it's
don't
not
you
possible.
take that example? Yeah.
If you're a very good doctor, you might be able to pull it off and do two or three people. And
Yeah.
then I and then together with ayahuasca, you will coordinate with her when you do one person for half an hour, the next person half an hour, the next person, and you go back and you alternate. That's possible. We do that sometimes when people come as family members or as friends or as couple. Then we allow them to be together, but that's still private because they're connected in some way energetically. There are no people who are not connected to them are not welcome.
Okay.
So then comes the question, like you said, then why are they doing it even in Latin American countries? See, this is what I said in the beginning, why historical context is so important.
Why did we drink at the same second? That was trippy.
Um,
You see, people, it's possible virtually to have a connection. We are on the different
sure,
side of the world. We're not even in the same country.
for sure, yeah. Um, okay,
Go
so
ahead. Yeah.
you have to imagine that right now, large pieces of land, forest, Amazon rainforest, is being destroyed, and this has been like this for like let's say the last hundred of years, for gold, for silver, for oil, for cattle, for palm trees to create palm oil. And um, see, there was an old shaman that I once spoke. He has passed now, but I once asked him why he was living so close to the city, and he told me that he didn't have another choice. So what
Yeah.
had happened? He was a young boy, and I think he died at the age of 113, and he gave ceremonies like up until the very end of his career.
Wow.
I called him Esteban. I know that's not the name that he was famous for, so I will send you the name. And he told me that when he was a young boy, when he was 20, 22 something, that missionaries, they came and they offered the tribe lots of money. And they said, we want you to take this million and just get off the land and begin your life somewhere else. But see, for indigenous people, there is no difference for us between us and the land. We are the land. So if you strip us away from the land, then we are nothing. It's like saying to us, abandon yourself. That doesn't go like that. Like, we don't have a garden to attend to. We have a jungle that takes care of us. We don't have pets as animals. We have animals that live along with us as companions, as friends. We don't see elements like some type of spiritual mysticism. No, to us, they're ancestors. The water that feeds us, the earth that feeds us, the air that feeds us, the fire that feeds us. So, just like a grandma and a grandfather and a grandma and a grandmother that take care of you. So to say like, oh, you have to abandon your land for money, that's obviously not an option. So many tribes, they refuse. But you cannot push these indigenous people from the land, because if you do, there are going to be massive riots in the city and people are going to protest and blah, blah. So they do it quietly. What does the government do? When the missionaries return and said there was no deal, they send planes. And the planes fly over the Amazon rainforest or even forests outside of that, and they spray poison. And it's not a poison that kills. It's a poison that stops all flowering plants to flower. So that means no more nuts, no more seeds, no more fruits. And what happens is that many animals, they will go away. We have lots of rodent type species that can be eaten. We have lots of different monkeys and sloths and birds and all these things. They are food for the indigenous community. But when there are no nuts, seeds, whatever, they leave. When there are no fruits, nothing, they leave. And if they leave, then predatory animals like the crocodile and even the piranha and snakes and the jaguar, they also leave. So the whole La Selva, like the area, the jungle area where they live, it's alive, but in a way it's dead because nothing is reproducing. There's a stillness. All the animals are gone. So if there's no food to hunt, no foods to collect, what do? You have to go. You have to leave. So they starve, and usually they go to the nearest village. But the villages that live alongside of the jungle, they have gotten into a capitalistic mindset already, because the same thing has happened to them 20 years ago. So when the tribe arrives there, they will say, "Well, if you want this fish, you need to pay." Yeah, but we don't have any money. If you don't have any money, go to the city and go work, because we cannot give you for free. We also have to make money, otherwise we cannot live. So they are trapped in the system. Now they go to the cities, and you will see this if you go to Peru, Lima, capital city. If you go to Colombia, Medellin, you will see this. If you go to Cartagena, you will see the same thing. So what you will see is the hunters, they're now drug addicts. They're in the parks, half naked, on crack or whatever, because they have lost all purpose. They have lost their tribe. They have lost their home, their everything. And the women, they began making like traditional clothing and jewelry to sell it to tourists to at least get a little bit of money. And with that money, they can at least take care of the children somewhat. But the whole tribe falls apart and it gets very nasty. And many tribe members, when they reach the city and realize that the city is shit, they want to go back home. They want to go back to the jungle. But you know what they find when they go back to the jungle? There is no more jungle.
Mm.
Because the missionaries did what they did on purpose. They waited for those tribes people to go away, and now when everybody's gone, they're going to come in with real estate bulldozers, trucks that are the size of a whole building, and you have these ancient trees there, which are sometimes thousands of years old, and they cut them down.
What are they doing that for? Why are they sending the people away from the Amazon forest, and are they cutting down everything? What do they want to do with that land? What do they want to do there?
And that's the thing. It's not even one thing. They have multiple ways of making money on that same piece of land. The
What
first thing they do is they're gonna chop off the big trees, and they're gonna sell the wood all across the country, and that's gonna just give a that's gonna be the first income that they have. Mind you, when mind you, two things. First thing is that half of the life of the rainforest is on the bottom. The other half of life is in the canopy because the trees are so high. You've probably never seen something like that in your life. And if you have, you know what I mean. The trees are so high that there are so many creatures living up there in the trees that sometimes the indigenous people don't even know about. That many scientists they have probably discovered only 10% of the Amazon canopy because it's so vast and there's no way to get up there and really know what's living there. So if one of those tree falls, that tree not only is it an ancestor to us, it's a family member, but that tree is connected to all these trees and vines surrounding it. It's a web. So if one of those trees falls, you get this like kinetic effect of many trees just falling down and the whole thing collapsing, like a domino effect. So they do that with every tree, and then basically all the young trees come down as well. They put it on these big, big trucks. They open a massive road and they ship it out of the jungle. And yeah, then the only thing what's left is like this smaller and younger vegetation. They spray oil and they burn it. Well, they burn the whole place flat. So you will walk in the fields, and I've seen it with my own eyes. You will walk in the fields and you will see a monkey burned alive like this on the floor. Walk a little bit further, you will see a jaguar burned alive like this on the floor because it didn't have a chance to escape the fires.
You have seen these.
Yes, and
Wow.
I have friends who live in the jungle, so it's not something I stop seeing. It's something I'm dealing with every day. But that's okay. You know, there are many initiatives who are working very hard on maintaining jungle. For example, there's this amazing organization. It's called Jungle Keepers, and with its social media, how you say, head lead right now is Paul Rosalie. So he does a lot of great work of putting the message out there and getting people to donate and support. We have our own way of supporting as well because we buy up pieces of land with some of the income that we have in South America to protect that piece of land. Because the thing is also you cannot be angry with the loggers and the people who come to chop down the forest because those people usually they don't have any papers, they don't have a job. So when the government comes and says, "Hey, you want to work in the forest, chop down trees and in the mines? Here's a big bag of money." They'll do it because they have kids, they have
Mhm.
families. But if you can get donations and you have a certain budget, you can go to those same wood choppers and say to them like, "Hey, whatever they're paying you, we'll pay you the same as long as you switch job, but you're going to help us protect the forest." They'll do it because they do love the forest. Most of them were they grew up in a village close to the forest, so in a way, it is some type of home to them. Because they were in a financial situation, they just took whatever opportunity they got. So those initiatives are being have been growing over the past few years, and I'm very happy that attention has been growing to this. It's still not enough because the rate in which we're losing territory is it's insane. Um, but it's very good to see how many people are waking up to the fact and feeling like supporting. So we are very grateful for that. But to continue the story, you can imagine that if these tribes arrive in the city and it sucks and they can make money, that at some point they're going to try to go back to the jungle, and they do. But when they come to the jungle, what they find is that all the trees are gone, everything has been burned to a crisp. That's going to break them. That's going to break them mentally, emotionally for life. And there's no amount of ayahuasca who can fix that. I don't think. I don't think so, because accepting that you know um, another human being has done what they have done to your homeland. Because, like I said, I'm going to remind you, like those animals and plants that live there, they are not just animal plants, they are family. So when they go back to their homeland from the cities, realizing that they cannot make money, they're going to be devastated. This is why most of them go in drugs and kill themselves and alcohol and blah blah. You even see it in like North America. Many of the indigenous there who lives in the reserve, they have alcohol problems. Now, why? Because they lost their land. Even though it happens generations back, that trauma is still in the present generation. Well, if they go back to the city, they don't have any skills to make money from. Like, what is a hunter going to do? Make a bow and arrow? In the city, no one's interested in a bow and arrow. Are they going to fish? Fish where? You're in a city. Build a hut. We call it a maloca or a palapa with like leaves. People live in houses with air conditioning. Your skills are useless. So you can't get a job. You can't make money. That's why I'm saying like only the women they can make like clothing and bracelets and these type of things traditional way and then sell it to tourists and get some money. There's one person though in the tribe that has a skill that everybody wants to know more about. Everybody is interested in. Guess who it is?
The shaman.
Curandero. So he has now in his hands a way to make money, not just for himself, for his whole tribe, for his whole community. That's what many people don't realize. This is the biggest shame and the biggest secrets of most modern day shamans that live in South America. And I know it because I've experienced it in my own life, with my own eyes. And I have friends who I can talk to who are in that situation. But I can't blame them because I know what they've been through, and they're doing the best that they can to take care of the people because their loyalty is not to tourists. Yes, they are a healer, but they are a tribe member first. They are local of the land first. So if they can make money off of you to buy back their land, to protect the jungle, to take care of the tribe, they will do it. They don't care if it's a group of 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, 50. They don't care. They know it's going to haunt them for the rest of their life, and they ask um, I say for forgiveness, Mother Earth. I know, but it's okay because they're just doing the best thing they're trying to do. And I think that most people, if they were in their situation, that they would do the same. And even as a tourist, there are many tribes. If you ask them about this, they will tell you honestly that's the case. Because, for example, the Yanawana or the Hunikuin from Brazil, they in the past only used ayahuasca in group settings to celebrate. They still do. They never used ayahuasca in a group setting for healing, but they're doing it now because they know they can make a lot of money from it. And most of them they have a code of truth. So if you ask them honestly, like why do you do group ceremonies? Because that's not a traditional thing. They will tell you because we need money to protect our land. I've challenged people to say, hey, when you go, ask them because then you know the bigger picture of ayahuasca. It's not as simple as taking a plant. There's a whole history, and yeah, good. I feel like my family, has the privilege of being in a financial situation where we have learned to adapt to modern civilization and make different ways of money, so that we are not dependent on the income of ceremonies and healings and these things.
Mm,
And that allows us to do our work in private. That we don't need big groups.
mm.
We have the capacity to spend time and really invest that time into taking care and helping one person or two people or three people go through that process. Now, I know that if you're a Western person and you go to South America, if you know nothing about the culture or its history, and you go to drink ayahuasca there and you see one shaman giving the dose, and then you drink, that you think, oh, this is normal. This is the way it goes. Because you don't know the history and you don't know the culture, you don't know any better. So when you go back to Europe or America or whatever, Australia, you think, oh yeah, that's the way ayahuasca is drunk. Shaman, give everybody drink in a group, you lay down and it goes. No, traditionally, the shaman would be singing to you the whole night, and he would have a waira in his hand and singing the Icaros and maybe um, putting oils on top of you and working with different types of smoke and then moving energy and then massaging different points in the body to make you puke. And then maybe he would make you sit up and shake you again. And maybe he would bury you a little bit in the earth. And then when it gets too heavy, we get a bucket of water and then wash you with special water with salt. So it's a whole process that would happen. But when you're in a group of 30 people, you don't see him doing any of the things. He sits down, takes the guitar, starts singing, and just prays that everybody has a good time. Well, some shamans, because with the dietas, you make friends, you make spiritual friends. Every plant that you do a special dieta with becomes an ally in the spiritual world. So nowadays, many shamans, what they try to do is they try to do as much dietas as possible, which was in the past as well, but now the narrative has changed a little bit so that they can manage big groups easier. Because now what they can do is when you have a group of, let's say, 10 people, but you have 20 spirit allies, when you drink ayahuasca, you can call each spirit that you have an ally with. Maybe it's Bobinsana or Mimosa or Mapacho, Ajosacha, Jaigonsacha or Ayahuma, whatever. And you say, okay, this person has heart problem, ayahuasca of Bobinsana, I want you to go with ayahuasca and work on this problem. Okay, this person has liver problem, Ahosacha, I want you to go there, work with this problem. Okay, this person has entity, Mapacha, I want you to go there and remove the entity with this person. Okay, this person has gut problems, I know Pion Colorado, go with him. And so he instructs his team of plant spirits to work on other people individually. And when he needs to step in, he can step in. But these healers that have the capacity to do this, um, they're what we call master healers. And there are not a lot of these healers because that is a skill that takes lifetimes, not one lifetime. It takes lifetimes to master that.
I can imagine. I can imagine. It's such a deep world, man. Like
Yeah,
there's so much to it. And everyone that has ever experimented or done something related to plant medicine knows how deep that world goes. It is
yeah,
so vast. It is so deep. So I can only imagine like these teachers, that are leading all these people and they've been doing it for such a long time, how much depth they have.
yeah.
Very interesting, man. What do they, one more thing, because the governments, they sell the wood. That's what you mentioned. Then they burn. Why do they
Yeah, then
burn the area? What is the purpose of that?
they burn the area to clear out the area. So they're going to make it just a flat surface, and usually they're going to sell it to big companies to either let cattle roam for example, meat production, or they're going to put palm trees to make palm oil. So you're going to get
Uh,
these huge palm tree forests. But also mining. Sometimes it's not going to be sold for cattle or palm oil. They're just going to dig into the ground for meters and meters and meters and extract gold and silver and diamonds and
mm,
maybe that's oil. An oil plantation is going to come and they're going to extract oil and they're just going to milk everything out of the earth until it's all dead.
to get
So
money, which is just a printed, nowadays not even printed thing, which humans made. And actually the most valuable thing is the things that we got, like, that we're here already, like the things that we have, like the clean water, the oxygen, the trees, the life, the soil. That's the most valuable thing because you cannot buy that with money. Like when all of that is gone, you have your freaking money papers, they're not gonna do anything. But they don't realize that. They just think, okay, right now I'm alive. The system that we live in is money based, and yeah, I'll just take care of myself. I'll just generate as much money as possible because that's kind of like the system that we're in. And they don't think about the descendants, like their children and the grandchildren, and what world they are gonna have to live in. Like no one thinks of that. Like we are
no,
literally destroying the world for every single one of our. That's why ever since like I was a kid, I wasn't sure, do I want to get a kid even? Like because we are destroying the freaking world. Like what kind of world are they going to live in, bro? They're going to be living in a world where AI drones are going to be going around tracking their faces and every single step that they take, and it's going to be insane world, bro. Like
you should have a kid because you can put a child on the earth that can make a difference.
of course, I totally get that perspective, and yes, I understand, definitely.
Just like
Like because
just like
by
you
not
and I
having
have
a
a kid.
kid is like you are giving up, and you are saying to those people, "Okay, you're right. Fuck it, I'll surrender to you." And I get that
Yeah.
argument. Yeah,
See, if humanity creates a problem, you're gonna probably need humanity to fix it again and make it right. And there's a
exactly.
beautiful indigenous saying, and it goes like this, I think. Um, Only when the natural world has begun dying will human beings realize that they cannot eat money.
Oh, that's literally what I just said, and you have a quote about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are in the shift where people are waking up, and I think that's also exactly the reason why so many people are drawn to psychedelics, because I feel like it's Mother Earth calling. And even though we might not have the best people in charge now and the best resources to actually facilitate growth and healing among the masses, if just enough people wake up from those ceremonies, that it will create a ripple effect where slowly they start influencing people.
Yeah.
See, I'm just one person, and this is a huge world with millions of people, billions of people.
Yeah.
I'm giving one-on-one healings. So compared to the amount of people that are actually healed in this world, compared to the amount of people that are actually in this world, it's just a very tiny fragment. But if each of those people actually gets a successful healing process and becomes a light in this world, it's another light in this world. And each light has the capacity to make a difference. Just like you with this podcast, you're one person. But who knows? Maybe this episode will go out to thousands and give the information necessary to wake them up and inspire them. So I think it's definitely worth fighting for.
Would you say that overall, a group ceremony done with people that are not knowledge on the plant, but they have really good and pure intentions as much as possible, they have a safe environment, would you say that overall it is a good thing for the world, that it is happening, that you're saying no?
I think in the best case scenario, no. But I am happy that the tool is being brought out there now, and that from those group ceremonies that there are people who are having good experiences and using those good experiences to help heal others, maybe their bloodline, their family, making healthier choices, making healthier lifestyle decisions. I'm happy about that. But if I was to look at the best case scenario, I wouldn't want there to be group ceremonies, because you also have to think about where's the ayahuasca coming from. It's not being grown. Ayahuasca grows very slowly. It has to be chopped down in a jungle. So you might be some type
Okay.
of ethical retreat who wants to organize ayahuasca ceremonies. Oh, you're in the dark.
Yeah, my light went out, but I just put it in the charger. Yeah.
You could be some type of like ethical retreat center who wants to help people heal, but at the same time,
Okay.
you're chopping down massive amounts of ayahuasca in indigenous land to transport it into Europe or America and do your ceremonies there. And you're not planting back any new ayahuasca into the soil. So you might think that you're giving life to another person, but in reality, you're taking life from another place. So that's the first thing you need to like think about. Like, how are we actually dealing with um, taking the ayahuasca itself? So, for example, I have friends in South America who have their own gardens, and there are special gardens. We call them chakras. I know that in Europe, chakra is like an energy point, but with us, chakra is a medicine garden with powerful plants. And that's where I get my ayahuasca from. So I know that for everything that I take, they will plant it back. So now we're like in an ethical way of using. But let's say I'm a retreat center who gets like 50 people per week to drink ayahuasca. Just calculate how much ayahuasca I need throughout the year and span that over a span of 10 years. And then take into the matter of fact that there isn't one retreat center, there are thousands in the world. So ayahuasca is becoming an endangered species of plants in a rapid pace. That powerful medicine, we're losing her because we're not taking in account the ethics of
So what do
working with
these
that
group
plant.
ceremony centers have to do diff aside from not doing it in a group, but let's say they do that, what do they have to do differently when it comes to sourcing the ayahuasca that they have? What has to be different if they want
Planting,
to do it in a little bit better way?
giving back. There's a
How do they
very
give
like
back?
strong
What do they do? Like,
there's a very strong indigenous like way of seeing the world, that nothing can be taken without giving something back. If I go outside and I chop a bit of the plant, I have my special pipe, and I will give mapacho, like a special type of tobacco. I will give it to the plant as an offering, because I take some of the leaves. I took some of the medicine. So when you chop down ayahuasca, first of all, you never should chop the whole plant. You need to chop the younger parts and leave the mother stem so she can grow again, so she doesn't die. But if you come and you just chop it all off because you want it, because we live in a commercial world, then what good have you done? You know, maybe the ayahuasca took 100 years to grow, and you just took it, you did two ceremonies with it, and now it's all gone.
yeah, that would be bad. But how do you know that they're doing it in that way? Because they have so much that they need. They need a lot because
Yes, 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 yes. And I know for a fact that many of these retreat centers are not planting. So you
they're
see
not
more and
planting.
more retreat centers who are going into funding farmers to plant ayahuasca, and many retreat centers that have made the decisions to move to tropical areas where the soil is, how you say, um, constructive. It's like a good soil, healthy soil for ayahuasca to grow in, and that they regenerate. It's like a regenerative farming. So they take the ayahuasca, but they also put it back in the ground, in the earth, and give it the chance to grow. Because if you like cut pieces off and just put it in the water, it'll put roots. So if you have a big stem of ayahuasca and you just cut the smaller branches off and just put all of those in water and just plant all of those and just leave it for 50 years against one wall, you will have a nice wall of like 100 vines of ayahuasca that you can use again in 50 years. But you have to do that consistently. And I feel like the work is only ethically if you also invest. Because don't get me wrong, like a lot of these retreat centers, they love healing, but don't think that they don't love money too. Many of them, they love money too. Tell me if you're a retreat center and you're working with 3 or 4 people, but you get 20 people in the group and they all pay €1,000 for maybe 2 ceremonies with, let's say, 2 to 3 days. Just do the math on that. That's like €20,000 for 3 people. You made €20,000 for 3 people in one week. What are you going to do with the money? Why do you need so much money? Is it going back to the forest? It's not. You're planting it.
It is a big wow. They can make a lot of money. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
for you it's just I'm paying $1,000, but you have to keep in mind everybody paid $1,000,
Yeah, no, no,
and
I know a lot of that. Yeah.
there are some places who have retreats where they're doing like 70 people. I know some places in Costa Rica where sometimes they have 60, 70 people.
So for example, here, like they do these group ceremonies. They have the
Yeah,
ayahuasca and they put it in plastic bottles, which is one thing I don't get, but I don't know if you know about that, but they have them in like the plastic bottles and they pour them in the cups.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so you're drinking ayahuasca combined with microplastics, but sure, whatever.
I
Uh,
have to say I'm guilty of that too, but I think it's because I learned it that way. Because in the jungle you will see they
okay.
everything goes into a plastic bottle because it's so resistant against humidity and heat and all these things without something getting away and getting spoiled or whatever.
Yeah.
And I tried putting it in a glass bottle, and then one time I dropped the glass bottle and it broke, and I lost the ayahuasca that I was busy making for 8 days. So then I realized, like, no, I'm going for the safer choice and just taking a good plastic bottle. I'm guilty
Okay.
of that too.
Okay. Maybe there is a different compound that is in between where it's like it doesn't break as easily as glass, but it doesn't have like the microplastics. But I haven't looked into that yet. I'm not brewing any
Yes,
ayahuasca, but
hard
there,
plastic.
yeah, maybe that would be
Hard
like
plastic is usually
a
better.
better choice. Anyway, how much do they I don't know if you know like what deal they have, right? Obviously, but they are asking like yeah 1,000 or 800 euros for like 2 day session like depending on the ceremony place and stuff. How much do they pay to get that ayahuasca? Because everyone gets like 2 glasses, maybe 3 small glasses, so that's what they how much does that cost them for one person? Like how
Um,
profitable is it is what I'm curious about. How money minded is it? That's my question.
see, that's actually that even that topic alone goes like very deep because they can just search for people who live somewhere in the city and have some knowledge about plants and just pay them to go into the jungle and chop everything down for money. And because South American economic system is very different than the Western system, many people will do it. They'll take the money, which allows you to outsource ayahuasca in a very cheap way. And it's not just the ayahuasca vine, it's also other plants that they need to make it, like chacruna or chaliponga or other plants. We can talk about that later too, like all the different combinations and stuff. I think that would be interesting. But they can also do it through a more sustainable way where they contact the tribe with a big chakra and say like, hey, we're a retreat center. We want to do, how do you say,
Ceremonies, yeah.
ceremonies and retreats and these things. Can we get ayahuasca for you? And then the tribe will ask a lot more money because yes, they have to uh, like I say, regenerative farming, put the ayahuasca parts back to let it regrow and take care of it, as well as maintain the land, which has more expensive. So that's a more ethical way of working. And there are some retreat centers who do that. But then your ayahuasca is going to be more expensive as well. Then you have to take into account that the people who are usually walking around in an ayahuasca ceremony are not the ones who are making ayahuasca. They pay a
No,
separate group of
definitely not.
people.
They don't, they definitely did not make the ayahuasca. They just pulled up that day and they're kind of like hosting the retreat. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Usually what they do is either they buy the ayahuasca ready, ready, set, go from some black market or some unknown shaman or, you know, via some person.
yeah.
And the problem with that is you don't know what's in the ayahuasca. You don't know what type of vine was used, what admixture plant was used, if there were
No
third-party
idea.
plants introduced. And that's where it becomes very tricky because when we had this conversation on the phone, I told you that every type of ayahuasca has a very different effect on body, mind, spirit, which I would love to go deeper into uh, in just a minute. But to continue the question, the other part of what's possible is that they make it through a team. So they have a special team that they hire, and it's just making new ayahuasca every week. Because you can imagine if you have like two different retreats in 1 week, and each group has 30 people. That's 60 people 1 week. At the end of the 4 weeks, at the end of like 1 month, how much people did you have? You have like 480 people. I don't know if I calculated that correctly. It's like
Yeah,
four times
it's a
60.
lot. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
240 people
Yeah.
that had to drink ayahuasca. It's like 240 times 2 or 3 cups because usually you don't drink 1 cup. Most people tend to drink
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of ayahuasca that has to be bought and cooked. And if you're also doing the ceremonies, you're not going to have energy to cook all that ayahuasca on the loop. You're going to have people in the background, behind the scenes, cooking that ayahuasca. That's a major problem because the people who are being paid to make the ayahuasca, you don't know what their energy is like, what traumas they have, if they have anxiety, if they have rage issues, if they have respect for the plants, if they have any cultural tradition whatsoever related to plants. So they could be right there making the ayahuasca, worrying about how the husband cheated, or maybe worrying about how they don't have money this week, or anxiety because the kids are doing something, like, or maybe their own traumas where they're projecting into the ayahuasca, and you're drinking that. So either it comes from some shady shaman or some shady black market, and you don't know what's put inside it because the people who bought it in the retreat center don't know what's inside it either,
Mm.
or they do know what's inside it, because they don't have the time and energy to make it because they're constantly doing retreats. The people who made the ayahuasca put their own energy inside of it, and you don't know what type of energy that is. So either you're getting some type of toxic energy or some type of weird ayahuasca that you don't even know where it's made from.
Yeah.
Happen.
How do you, very clear. How do you feel about um because you're saying it like okay, people are actually mixing it, which is probably how it's being done.
Yeah.
How do you feel about outsourcing it, like a factory doing it? So it's not like humans interacting with the medicine. Would you say that's at least better than traumatized people that have no connection with the plant? Would you say if we were to make a factory where, you'd give it the ingredients and the factory will boil it and will mix it and will do everything accordingly? Do you think that's better than traumatized people making it?
No, I'd say that's probably just as shit. And the reason I say that is because the ayahuasca usually is only as strong as the person who made it.
So you actually need like a human with a personal connection brewing it, just like
Yes,
a mother cooking the meal for the family is very
yes,
different than the same ingredients being made in a factory in a Knorr bag, whatever you buy from the
yes.
supermarket. Okay. Yeah.
100% yes. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I've experienced it so many times where people come and say like, "Oh, I drank an ayahuasca. I didn't feel anything. I didn't do anything." And then they
I
come here. They,
had one ceremony where I was just like 8 hours. I drank 3 cups, nothing happened. But I was in a meditative state, so I was just journaling for 8 hours straight. I wrote out like I don't know how many pages, but there was zero like psychedelic experience. So I had that one time. I didn't feel anything for 8 hours. That was crazy. And that was my
see,
first time as well. So I was like, what? This ayahuasca's not working on me? That's crazy. And I know
no,
a guy, a good friend of mine, he's done it many times. He never felt anything. So that's also interesting.
see, and usually those people when they come here, the first ceremony, they're definitely going into it. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh my God, how? How is it possible?" And yeah, well, not every ayahuasca is the same. And my teacher really spoke the truth when he said every wizard has its own potion, and
And
its
that's,
potion, the power of the potion is just going to depend on the power of the wizard.
I
So,
agree.
and ayahuasca also looks different when you come to us. Like if you look in like Europe and And Americans and like Western countries, usually it's more tea-like and like light brown, watery.
Light
But
brown, yeah.
like if you drink it here with us, it's thick. It's like a syrup, and it's very hard to swallow and very strong in flavor. Oh, it's even a little bit thicker than honey usually, or honey-like, and very dark brown, sometimes even black. And when you drink that, you don't need a whole glass. Like a shot is not a glass. One shot with us is this much, and usually your second shot sends you flying. And that's the traditional way of drinking ayahuasca, at least for the for South America. I know
Hmm.
in Brazil, like I said, they use ayahuasca also a lot to celebrate things. So their ayahuasca will be watery because, like I told you, when they celebrate and use ayahuasca and
Not so
then drink it,
concentrated.
yeah, not so country. It's just to get a connection and to connect with the tribes, to call the ancestors, to celebrate that moment.
I
Yeah.
know a woman that is doing those types of retreats. She is Brazilian and she does those in the Netherlands. And she was explaining it to me that they do ayahuasca and they like dance together and they sing. And I was listening to that and I was like, interesting, but I am kind of like looking to go inside and heal and that kind of stuff. So I didn't choose to go with her thing, but you're saying like that's a normal thing. Like that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing.
No, I'm saying that that's a traditional and normal thing. But the only thing that's not normal is that they have labeled that as healing when traditionally that they never used to do that for healing. That was just their way of communal celebration.
Mm.
Let's say I don't know, maybe an elder in the community has died and they will celebrate his life, so everybody drinks ayahuasca and just dances and sings. That's how many tribes have done it. But now, because they need money, they're letting other people come as well and then drink ayahuasca and have that experience like that. Because, yeah, their shaman is not going to do a real healing with strong ayahuasca with 30 people. It's not possible. Yeah. So there are some groups who have very effective healings with bigger groups. For example, a group of 10 people, 12 people. But you will always see that there are multiple well experienced healers there. For example, you can go to a Shipibo or Shipibo Konibo tribe, and they will have 10 to 12 people in a group, but there will be three feminine healers and one male healer. And every healer, before the ceremony even started, they have discussed with each other which patients they will focus on. So one woman will focus on D2, maybe an older elder who's very powerful will focus on these three, the other one will get this one, the other one will get this two. And like this, the group can be managed.
Yeah.
And we do the same. If I have one person coming, I can do the ceremony on my own. I mean, my mother does it on her own. If we have a very severe case, then we might do it together because it's more efficient. But if a couple comes, or like a couple wants to come with their children, or maybe there are multiple family members, two brothers, one sister, then yes, me and my mother will do it together because then we can manage it together. But we won't exceed to 5 people, 6 people. It's just not reasonable.
It's very beautiful. Like you do this with your mother.
Yes, yes,
That's
yeah,
insane, bro. Like my mother has a clothing store in Lebanon now, and I help out with that when I'm there sometimes. But that's like a son helping his mother with her clothing store. But you're like doing ceremony, like yeah, healings with your mom. Fascinating.
yeah. My phone just died.
It's okay. I can use the rest just this footage.
Okay, sure.
Don't worry about it.
Sure.
Wow. So you do it with your mother together. That's very unique, man. So how is it like
Yeah.
to do this work with your mother? Like,
Well,
has that
actually,
brought you guys closer together? Like, I mean, that's a silly question. Of
uh,
course it has.
I think it just made me understand her better and who she is as a person. Um,
Yeah, I can imagine.
but I get that from most people, especially if they're like from the West.
Yeah,
For them, it is very unique. But I would say that in most curandero traditions here in South America and North America, it's normal.
that's normal. Yeah, you do. That's
It's,
family. Yeah.
yeah, it's normal that someone in the bloodline, if you want it at least, teaches you how to walk the path and do the work because that way things that have been passed on from generation to generation are carried on. So I can't really talk about like it's special because for
Oh, I
me
mean,
it's just
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I think it's beautiful. I don't think it's not normal or anything. I just thought it's a beautiful thing. Um,
yeah.
there was
And
one,
I have to say just before I forget,
yeah, sorry,
um,
go ahead.
you hear a lot also like in the psychedelic space where women come in and they drink some type of sketch ayahuasca and then they get raped. Have you ever heard about that before?
Yes, yeah, of
Yes,
course I've heard of that. Yes, yes. I mean,
yes,
you're bringing it up. Go ahead, go ahead. Good topic.
yeah. And I think if you are going to a place where there's a traditional family working with ayahuasca, something like that's probably never going to happen because these cases of this happening, usually it happens in uh, Western settings when some guy has drunk maybe 10 times ayahuasca somewhere in the jungle, and now he sourced ayahuasca somewhere online, started giving it to people and calling himself a facilitator, and he couldn't hold back his own urges because he doesn't have any energetic discipline, and then, in trance takes abuses the woman. This is like one case scenario that you hear
So
about a
some
lot.
guy acting as a shaman.
Yes, but you also have
Yeah.
local people. Uh, yeah, it's just like in
Acting
Star
as
Wars.
a
We say they go to the dark side. When people are in pain, they can also use plants to do bad things. We call it brujeria or magia negra. It's like black magic, and they can also give people some type of ayahuasca that just sedates the person and kind of makes them unconscious, and then still do sexual things with them. For example, then they make ayahuasca, but they put a plant in it. It's called toe. I think it's the Berkmansia flower, angel's trumpet, and then they abuse the person, right? Sometimes it's not even physical abuse. Sometimes it's energy, because you can go to a
I mean,
brujo,
that's the worst abuse.
yes, because they'll suck out your energy force, or if they're really powerful, they will make a cord, an energy cord between you and him. And then even when you leave, doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman, your energy will seep back to him all the time. And
Who
if
is
he
this
does
guy?
this with
Is this a shaman? Is this just a local guy that is kind of
no,
like
this is what we call a brujo. It's like a sorcerer.
a male witch?
Yeah, but it can be women also. It can be man or women.
Hmm.
And but they have usually suffered very horrible things. If it's a local, usually what you see is that it was a shaman, but the shaman lost his land by Western people, and now he's very angry, and he has been blinded by his anger and hate because he's lost his land, his territory, everything, and now he's stealing the energy of people or abusing them through ceremony because he's so filled with rage and anger. So ayahuasca cannot heal everything. I know people think ayahuasca can heal everything. Ayahuasca cannot heal everything. She is a grandmother. She is wise and more powerful than you. Yes, this is true. But you have free will. You can always decide, I will not listen to my grandmother. Even if Mother Earth screams and says, don't destroy me, we're human beings. You have free will. You can decide to take care or still destroy her. So that being said, if even if someone was the best shaman for 40 years, but at age 40 his jungle gets cut down and burned, and his people die, and the hunters get alcoholism, and his brothers go sick, and whatever, he can turn to the dark side, be blinded by hate, and force his hate onto like tourists and these things who come to drink ayahuasca and just abuse them, energetically or physically.
But would he
So
be consuming the ayahuasca? Because, like, in my bro,
yes,
every time I've done ayahuasca, I cannot, like, how do I say? I get sat down. If every time it's a little bit different, but I get sat down, I get humbled. It's like a tough situation. I don't. It's goodness. It's very difficult to explain. Like, I cannot imagine me freaking doing bad thing. Like, how's that even possible? Because, bro,
I'll
what is
tell you.
going through me is empathy, and I'm thinking of, and I'm
Oh,
going through pain, and I'm feeling pain, and I'm returning back to my human side, and it's like I just want to like help people, and I need to be more kind to others. I need to be more kind to others, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll never do it again. This is like me during the fucking 8 hours, bro, and it's like,
I
how
will
do
tell
you
you.
break through that and like rape
I
people?
will tell
Like,
you.
how?
I will tell you.
Yeah.
There are multiple reasons. And to come back to why I was saying this is that's why we are proud to be a family working together.
Yeah.
because you don't see these things happen with family. You know, when a person says to me, "Oh, I'm doing healings, ayahuasca ceremonies," and he's working with family, that feels good with me immediately because I know you have people around you that are watching you and honoring a code. You are a team, you are a tribe, keeping a tradition alive. But when people don't have anyone and they fall into that black pit, but they have the knowledge of power of plants, then yes, then there's no one to correct them and pull them out of their pain, and they will project that pain onto the world. So these people are always solo people. And you might ask, yeah, how is this possible? But I told you that just like with humans, everything has two sides. It's a very human perception to think, oh, there is good, there is bad. That's a human thing. Nothing else in the world looks like that, perceives the world like that. Plants don't do that, like see it like that. Even Mother Earth doesn't do it like that. Mother Earth is only concerned about two things. There is evolution and there is destruction. And whatever force comes to the world and creates destruction, she will always try to push towards evolution because that's her essence. That's her essence. Plants and animals, they all have the same thing. But we, as a species, we have this innate sense of destruction in us, especially when things have happened to us that have, destroyed our sense of self, our sense of happiness. Then we tend to become destructive to our environment. And that's also because we see things as good and bad. What happened to me was bad, so I will do bad to others. Plants don't see it like this. So ayahuasca has what we call a light side and a dark side. She can
Yeah.
teach you about light and dark and healing and construction, but she can also teach you about death and about lying and about illness and about black magic and destruction because it's for to her it's all just wisdom of life. It's yin and yang. So whatever your intention is, you will get that. If you go in
Wow.
saying, grandmother, I
Okay.
wish to destroy, she is not some spiritual being who sits on a high horse and says, oh, you are wrong for doing that. No, just like the Mother Earth, she doesn't have an opinion on what's good and bad and judgment. You are a human being. You need to learn and walk your own path. If your path is calling to do darkness, then I will teach you darkness. Because ayahuasca knows damn well that one day that darkness will swallow you alive. And you will have no choice but to return to the light. And when you do return to the light, you will have to face the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
either way, if she shows you light or dark, you have to walk your path. Either way, you have to go through your spiritual growth. And there are some species of plants, because there are many different types of plants. For example, um, you have ayahuasca cielo, which is a very wise ayahuasca, very like yellow, what I say, more peaceful ayahuasca, very mental activity. You have ayahuasca roja, which is the red ayahuasca. This one is very good for cleaning the blood, cleaning the liver, working on the inner child, and purging the body of like more stubborn diseases. You have jaguar, which is jaguar ayahuasca, which is very good for opening the senses. Problem, if a person has problem with hearing, with smelling, with taste, with eyes, with feeling, it will open up the primal senses and the primal instinct. You have kapuri. Kapuri is very good for when the person is just emotionally dead. Let's say a person was raped, abused, lost a child, and suppressed so many emotions. The person knows, hey, I'm fucked up, but doesn't have the capability to actually feel what is wrong with me because he or she has suppressed so many emotions and memories, blah
Yeah.
blah. Kapuri, master of going into the central nervous system, will go right into the central nerves and start opening up and shaking out that trauma. You have Blanca, and Blanca is a very rare ayahuasca and will teach you about light. It will teach you about the universe, about the creation. Um,
Yeah.
then, and I can keep going like this, but the point I'm making, you have Negra ayahuasca, and we use Negra ayahuasca as well because Negra ayahuasca teaches us about sorcery. But our intention is teach us how to protect ourselves. Because if I'm a shaman, and let's say a person was cursed by a brujo, and he comes to me and I take it away, that brujo is going to be angry with me. I need to understand his magic so I can protect myself. So many shamans, many healers, I think even at some age, all of them have studied dark arts to learn how to protect themselves from it. Because let's say you're at war with a nation, how can you fight that nation if you don't know the language, if you don't know the cultures, if you don't know the weapon? Then you're fighting a ghost.
Yeah, yeah,
You need to know your
it's the same thing as learning about psychopaths to be able to protect yourselves from them,
right.
etc., etc.
We have a world full of narcissists. How do you want to protect yourself and put boundaries if you cannot recognize a narcissist? So
Yeah.
we use the black ayahuasca negra to learn about that. But black ayahuasca, if you don't have strong integrity, it will also show you power, how to become more powerful spiritually. So you have to have a certain emotional strength to say, I am not interested in power. I am interested in creating happiness in this world. But if you're a shaman and you're filled with pain, your integrity will not be strong.
I can imagine people that there is a video of a guy robbing a bank, no, a gas station in the US, and there's like the CCTV footage, and he's telling the guy, "Please, man, I don't want to do this. I hate to be doing this. I something really bad happened. I have a small little daughter. I need to feed her, man." And then he was like robbing the gas station, but like he had to do it according to him because he has a small little daughter and it made him go there. It made him do something he would never do. So I can
Yes,
imagine that if someone's entire family has died, the trees, the animals, everything has been taken away, that the amount of pain that he's going through, it's a lot, it's deep, and if he doesn't heal that, and yeah, then he can become very vengeful. Um,
yes,
I think I've had a period of that after also being bullied as a kid. I started almost hating human beings at one point, and I was like, yeah, like humans are bad because all the experience I had with humans, they're just bad. I can't be myself. I can't be authentic. They're bullying me. They're hurting me. So I'm gonna hurt others because they don't deserve my love because I tried to give them, and I just got hurt. And then I went down that road, and thankfully, okay, I can say I got saved out of that deep, deep hole. But I've been there, so I can relate to that, shaman. Do you only
yeah.
use the black ayahuasca, or do you, depending on the people you have in front of you, do use other colors, or is it just the black one that you mainly use?
No, I have used the black one a long time ago, just to learn about psychic attack and how to defend myself against it. And because it's a very common thing, like I say, I think for serious like traditional healers here in South America, you can ask any of them, and they will tell you this is very real. Becoming a healer is not necessarily just healing, learning healing; it's learning protection. Because a lot of people walk around with things that were put upon them, especially in a culture where it's normal. See, in the West, they don't believe in it, so then they don't have it, right? If nobody believes in it, then it's not applicable. But here, it's a very live. Like black magic is a real thing. You will see it all the way from
You
Suriname to Curaçao,
sorry for
Colombia,
interrupting
Venezuela,
you, but do you
Brazil.
feel like not believing in black magic is like actually legit? Like if you don't believe in it, it doesn't apply to you? Is that what you
No,
just said?
no, no. What I mean is, if you live in a culture where nobody believes it, then you're not going to be easily persuaded to go down that path.
Down which path? To do it to
Path of black.
others.
Yes,
But it's
yes,
still
but
applicable, even if you don't believe in black magic. If someone
yes,
does it
yes,
on you, it does work.
yes,
Got it.
yes. But what I mean more like is, for example, if you grow up here in I don't know, like Guatemala or something, and maybe Costa Rica, and um, you know for a fact that if you want to have a girlfriend really bad, but she doesn't like you, there's this lady you can go to, and she will do some ritual, and then suddenly the girl falls in love with you.
Mm,
See, if you grow up with that, knowing that that's possible,
yeah.
and that's part of the culture, then you're way closer to walking down the path of,
Of
oh, I
course.
will I will explore and experiment with
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Then when you, for example, growing up in the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands they don't even believe in a
Yeah.
soul. They
It's
don't
not
even
a
believe in
possible.
energy.
Yeah.
Love is just a molecule, oxytocin that comes to the brain and you feel something. It's just an illusion. See,
Mm,
so it's two different worlds. Yeah. But to come back to your question, so I used in the past to learn about these things, and once I became really good at protecting myself from human attacks, so like other brujos, um, then there's no use in using it again because it's not really effective for healing. So sometimes if I have students who really need to learn about these things, because the student they go through a very rigorous lifestyle, and then they visit us for a few months and they help and prepare and sit in ceremony so that really they learn, because it takes lots of ceremony to really grasp and understand what's happening. And when they're ready, we introduce the black ayahuasca. Okay, now you drink this one, experience and see what happened, and ask the questions so you can learn. But other than that, the students they usually drink yellow ayahuasca because it's very good at learning about healing and receiving personal wisdom. But the patients who come here who are physically ill, usually they drink red ayahuasca because, like I said, when they are physically ill, most people who come here to drink ayahuasca, they're not just coming for spiritual growth. I would say 60% has some physical problem as well that they couldn't fix with the doctor. Osteoporosis, diabetes, cancer, or whatever it may be, colon problem. So then we use special ayahuascas to fix out that problem as well.
wow, that's it's beautiful, man, that we can heal these things. And you've had actual cases where people with big diseases, chronic stuff, they were able to heal.
I would say that the majority of people that come here are come for that reason. It's not a small group. So I have one client coming in a week, and he's flying out from Europe. And he is one of those examples, like extreme traumatic examples, where he doesn't feel anything. He's just emotionally blocked. Doesn't feel happiness, joy, grief, anger, nothing. And we did a body scan, and we saw that his father abused him severely when he was younger.
Mm.
Well, I didn't do the body scan. My mother did the body scan on him because he was a more difficult case, and my mother, her sight is more developed than mine. And we had communicated with him like, hey, you need to come and do some serious stuff. So he is going to get the Kapuri ayahuasca because, like I said, that one will really go deep into the nervous system and open up those memories so he can purge it out. But after that, I'm going to get a lady. She had her thyroid removed because she had complications, and the doctor told her to remove her thyroid. But most doctors are idiots because now her hormones are all fucked up because her thyroid regulates your hormones. And she has kidney stones, she has osteoporosis, which is normal when you remove your thyroid and you have a hormone fluctuation. So they made her condition worse, actually. So she is coming and she needs to drink the red ayahuasca. So we can really purge out the body, clean up, and work on that disease. So that's how the way we manage it. And that's not the only thing, you
But
know.
you,
I
yeah, so
mentioned
back to the question, you do have all the different ones available and you choose accordingly. That's that was my question basically.
yes,
The patient, yeah. You mentioned
yeah,
students. What do you mean? You have students who, what are they, what are you teaching them? That's different from the patient? Like you have students that you're teaching them? Like teaching them what?
yes. This work,
To also do this work. Interesting.
yes, 'cause we don't believe that. How you say, we don't believe that the only way to become a healer is through the bloodline. We say you have a step ahead, but that's all.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a stranger who has no healing history in his bloodline at all, but he's more willing to learn than my own son, for example, then he's probably going to become a better healer, right? So when people show up and they have a sincere interest to learn, we help them, and we teach them how to, first of all, change their own life because they have to become an example first if they want to help other people, and then they go to this severe, intense process of dietas to open up their psychic abilities because without psychic abilities you cannot do anything. It's the first thing you have to learn. And then when they master that, they have to gain more knowledge. So we have to teach them about the organs, the body, the cells, because we do love the scientific knowledge that we have nowadays, because that makes it so much easier and tangible for people to understand what's actually happening here. It's not just woo-woo, you know. For example, if a person comes and I put them on a table, I can put my hand on the stomach and then see how the liver maybe is not functioning good. And I'll press on the liver and it will be painful and hard. And then I give them the ayahuasca. And then during the ceremony, I will say to them, we're going to clean your liver. And then the ayahuasca is moving, they feel nauseous and pain in this area, they puke it out. And the next day, I put them on the table again and said, let's feel your liver now. And then we touch the liver. I say, you have pain? No, I don't have pain anymore in my liver. I said, good. So the ayahuasca do their work.
Yeah.
See, it
Wow.
makes it more, it gives structure. But yeah, to come back to the students, they go to this process of dietas, then learn the knowledge, and they have to sit with us in ceremony to actively train their skills. Because I'm going to test you, huh? If a person is about to puke and you are my student, I will walk up to you and ask, what is he going to puke out? You need to know. Maybe he has an entity. I want you to know what type of entity does he have, because if it's every type of entity has a different way of being removed. If you're my student, you should know. So that's what we're teaching you, so that you become good at the job.
Wow. Okay. So you also do that. Amazing, man.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Let's round it off before we take a little break and then do the body scan. If you're still down for that, we can do a little
sure.
break before that. Obviously, I need to go to the toilet pee.
Yeah,
And
me too.
yeah, we've been drinking a lot of that water. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Anyway,
What
anything
be
else you
yours? I
I
said,
had
I said,
electrolytes. I was just drinking like some electrolyte
oh,
thing
yeah,
drink in the morning.
yeah.
So yeah. Anything else before we transition to that you want to share? Because I feel like, bro, like we can talk for so many more hours. Probably we'll do another one if time, universe allows, like in the future. Um, but anything else you want to share to round it off? Like any important information or anything?
I think so far I've given a pretty good view on what where ayahuasca comes from and what the downsides are, because we talked a lot about the negative things, and I think mostly because many people are aware of the positive sides but not so much aware of the negative sides. And the reason I do these interviews is always with the same reason, is I want to share this. So the number one thing I would like to say to people, if this resonates with you and you know other people who are interested and want to do something like this, share it, because um, social media can be something that's very destructive, but it can also be God's miracle that helps us share information and see more things. I feel like the more people are aware of this, the more these retreat centers and other healers and blah blah, the more responsibility they will take to become
Yeah.
more ethical and do it in a more ethical way. Because I really do believe it's possible. I really do believe that there's no problem with all these retreat centers. I don't think there's even a problem with these big groups. I just think we need more people who are well educated and well trained to actually give and perform these healings in these groups, so that people aren't just safe, but they actually get the max benefit from the
I totally
ayahuasca.
agree. I totally agree,
Yeah.
man. I totally agree. Yeah. I
And
can
at the same
imagine.
time, take care.
I can
Yeah.
imagine people get into a lot of trouble in these group ceremonies because the people that are leading them are just not educated in navigating that whole thing. Like, thank God it didn't go really bad in my case, but I can imagine like that people can experience some really insane things. Thank you for bringing awareness to this, and thank you for doing this work and dedicating your life to it, and for passing on the torch and helping other people also become like healers and
Yeah.
heal the world. Because one day you're not gonna be here anymore, and then you need someone else, your students, to be able to keep doing the same work,
If not better.
if not better, exactly, in their own way, right? Their
Yeah.
version. Because everyone has
Yeah.
their own little taste, everyone has their own little thing, like the way
Yeah.
they do it,
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That makes them. I always say to them, your authenticity is your biggest power. So don't never try to do it like me.
No, no,
Get the
of course
foundation
not.
right
It
and
doesn't work like
do
that.
it. Yes, exactly. And then I always challenge them also, because I have two students who are a little bit younger. Like one is I think 29 and one is 26. And I have two others, but they're like older. They have lived quite a long life already and have a separate career next to it. But these two younger ones, they're really focused on making this their main career and shaping their life around this. So I always say to them like, your only mission is to transcend me.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they laugh. They say, how do you do it? I said, I don't care. Believe that you can do it. One day you will be better than me. And then they say, but how? I said, you don't need to just pay close attentions to my success. Pay close attentions to my failures, and then you will not make the mistakes I make. So then you see
That's a
them
really good
growing.
lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, you see
Very,
them growing in such an amazing
yeah.
speed.
Yeah. Very good lesson, man. And also what you said about the authenticity. It's like with professional athletes, like a footballer, for example, if they are teaching someone how to do it, like for example, Messi, he touches the ball in a way, it is him. Like that is him. You shouldn't try to be him. You should be the best version of you because he is doing him. If you're trying to be him, you're always going to be a little bit less of a version of him. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
always what you're going to be. You're always going to live in his shadow. You're never going to surpass if you're trying to copy someone's style because it is them. Their style is them. You're only going to become better if you do you, and then you could potentially get better. But you won't get better trying to copy someone because you'll always be a shadow of them. And I really like that perspective. To round it
Yeah,
off,
well
like,
said.
yeah, yeah, thank you.
The part being a shadow, I like that one.
Yeah, if you copy someone, you'll always live in their shadows, is what.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, Managing ego in terms of how good you are in work. I've had difficulties with this because when is it too much when you say, okay, when you're confident about the work that you do? Seems to be something that is frowned upon, like, oh, it's ego, or you're a psychopath, you're a narcissist. You mentioned narcissism. I just got literally yesterday the book Surrounded by Narcissists in the mail. So I haven't started reading it, but I got it. The one with the four colors. I've read the psychopath version of it. I don't know if you by Thomas Erickson. It's just a book. It's just his perspective on the thing. But when is it narcissism versus like, no, I'm actually good at my work. Like, how do you navigate that? Because I tend to hit myself so much, like mentally. I'm like, okay, it's not me, it's God, it's the universe. Like, okay, I am a medium um within my work, right? I'm just a medium. I'm no one. I have been blessed to be able to be a medium to facilitate this stuff for others. That's been my way of navigating ego. How about you? How do you go about that? Do you understand the question even what I'm saying? Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
yes, yes. So I think first and foremost, let's define ego because it's also a word that has like a lot of heavy connotation. I think ego in a way is necessary because ego is the thing that drives you forward into growth, into excellence. It's that slight touch of I don't know if I'm good enough that makes you want to improve and
Yeah,
become better. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
sure. Yeah,
And ego, in a way, is also your identity that you have around different people. So um, if I am with my daughter, for example, then part of my ego is I am the father. If I
sure.
am with my partner, then part of the ego is I am the husband. If I am with the business, then I am the boss, right? So that's a level of identification. But that has to stay. Um,
Okay.
it, should, it shouldn't influence how you view life and how you view others. So,
Yeah,
for example, the moment your identification of who you are and what you do makes you feel like you're better than another person,
yeah.
then that's the problem. Actually,
Okay,
that's
okay.
then you are in the judgment of ego, and that's the thing I watch out for a lot. So I do the same thing you do. I'm stupid. I know nothing. I say a lot of bullshit, and you can believe me, and we might have success, or you don't believe me, and you find someone else who can help you better. Because that's life, and that's okay with me. I
Yeah,
am not here to heal the entire world, because I know I cannot. I am also not here, not even to heal everybody who comes to my doorstep, because I also know I cannot. from 100% of people who walk through my doorstep, I may be able to heal 90%. There will be cases where I'm sorry, I have to let you go. It's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, for me, I am very well aware of the fact that we are in a very big universe with the Earth being just a speck of dust in the shape of a piece of dirt. And then we are walking around like pieces of bacteria, screaming, "I'm very good at this. I'm very good at that." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I like to zoom out, take a breather, and be like, "Oh,
I'm nothing. Yeah,
we're
exactly. Yeah.
all just idiots.
Yeah, no,
Let's
exactly.
make
Yeah.
mistakes. Let's make the best of it." Like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I thank you for that. So I'm curious about your perspective of this and if this thing that I have is healthy. But in the past, I used to kind of like, I used to almost be my ego. Like I used to not even differentiate between a higher awareness and an ego. I was like the ego. I was literally the thing that I believed that I was, which is the guy that has the high grades or whatever, right? Now I have built this relationship with this ego where it's I wouldn't say it's a battle, but there's this constant awareness of it. So for example, let's say I'm in the gym, I take off my sweater and I have the tank top, I have a pump and I look at it. I'm like looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, okay, I look good and stuff like that. Okay, love. And then I can start seeing the ego side of me coming up and it's like oh like trying to think I am the shit or something and then I have to tame it and this is I have this relationship with this ego thing. I have given up on trying to kill it because I believe it's there for a reason, otherwise we wouldn't have been born with it. It's like we're born with the heart, we're born with the liver, we're born with kidneys. We have this ego part of our psyche. It is there, it probably serves its purpose, just like you're saying. It drives you to do things that you wouldn't do. Maybe sometimes you feel not good enough in something and it drives you.
Hey, let me
So
stop you there.
I've
Let me
please
stop you
go.
there
Yeah.
real
I
because
just wanted
you
to explain my relationship with ego, and I
I know,
wanted to
I know.
see what you thought of that.
You-
That's
But you gave a perfect example already because you said you need the ego to drive you forward and excel at things. So when that ego comes up and says, "Oh, I am the shit," that was the reward for the initial motivation to go out, to go to the gym and do something.
yes, but I wanted and then I want to take a breath and then I want to like almost tame it in a way of so it doesn't go out of control because you know guys where this ego thing just they start believing in the narrative it starts saying and it's they start going that route and they start thinking they're better than others. So I'm like, okay, ego came up, it's part of me. I don't want to kill it anymore. It's there. Okay, you're telling me I'm the shit. Okay, yes, I'm proud of the work that I've done. I've worked really hard to get here, but let's be realistic. Let's zoom out. I am just a little piece of sand or not even in this big thing and I'm actually nothing. And that's factual. That's not like fake humility. That's like factual stuff. Like we will get old, we will get wrinkly, we will get maybe sick sometime and we're just like these very fragile beings. And that's kind of like the relationship I have with my ego. Would you say that's a hell that's a good way of going around it? What would you say about that?
I would say that you're a lot more conscious about it than other people, but I would want to add to that that don't become too strict with it, otherwise your humanness is going to die. Because
Humanness. Okay.
yeah, because see, if you have an ego, it's going to be part of your personality,
Yeah.
right? If you let that ego die completely, where's going to be your personality?
Yes, exactly, exactly. So it's this navigation of, okay, it's
Yes,
there. I don't want to kill it. It's like my liver, my heart. It's like the thyroid within the woman. We don't want to take it away, but we need to manage it. If we take it
yes,
away fully, it's gonna cause kidney stones and whatever. If we don't
yes.
manage it, it's also gonna cause problems like what she had. So we need to
Yes,
manage it. And that's kind of like how I look at it now.
I understand.
Yeah.
Don't fear it because if you fear it, it will grow.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is just embrace it and talk with it like it's a little brother, you know? At least that's what I do. Because when I go to the gym and I do pull-ups and I get a pump and the ego comes up and says, "Oh yeah, we're looking good." I say, "Yeah, we're looking good. We worked hard for this." And then you go out of the gym You feel good, you go home, you had a nice time that day. What's the problem? It is more the problem when your ego steps in the way of resolving issues. When something arises in your personal life and your ego steps in, I feel like that's where you need to pay
Yeah.
more attention of how you're going to manage the the problem. And usually there's only one reason for the ego stepping in to defend itself in a problem. It's because the ego wants to be seen, you know? So then the only question that remains is with whom or during what situations or why do I feel the need to be seen? See, if
Yeah.
I go around saying to everybody, oh, I'm a healer, I do this, blah, blah, then I am working from my ego because some
Yeah.
part of me doesn't feel seen.
Yeah.
But finally, I've come in a place in my life where I don't give a fuck. I
That's
don't.
beautiful, man.
See, if I go outside, somebody asks me, what do you do? And I already feel like the person is not going to care what the answer will be. I just say, I work in the garden.
Yeah.
I work with plants.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can meet the next person who I know is just has a joking character, is just making jokes all the time, and ask, "What do you do?" I'm just gonna go in their energy. And you're like me? Oh, I'm a trash guy. I pick up trash.
Yeah. Have you had
If I meet them,
difficulties with that on because with social media, it's like you're talking to many people. I have had a lot of difficulties with that thing. So when my ego was like me, like I was the ego, I had no problem posting things and stroking my ego and being seen as this high person that I thought that I was, that I really believed in. I believed in the story of the ego. Now I have a big conflict with that, with like how do I explain this, man? Um, how do I explain this? Um,
may I add otherwise because I have some other ideas as well.
I
But
just have difficulty with looking like someone I'm not. Like oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In my okay, so the industry that I'm in, just so you know, I give coaching when it comes to communication, when it comes to sales and stuff like that. And there's a lot of
mhm,
people in my industry that they are totally believing in the narrative of their ego, and they have done basically zero spiritual work. And they're like, I'm the coach, I'm this, I can help you. And they're so confident on social media and they are so successful business wise within that thing. I also want to get business success, but I have such difficulty behaving like that. I have difficulty behaving like that because I know it's not true. And I kind of like need to still translate my authentic self online, but I have a lot of difficulties doing that, especially with short form content. Like this is long form, this is like a podcast. You can show who you are. But the short form stuff like Instagram, TikTok, that has never been my thing, and I don't know how to make it my thing. I see you smiling. I don't know why. Like, what do you feel about
because you already gave the answer again yourself.
what is my answer?
Authenticity just means one thing, and it's speaking your truth.
Yeah.
It sounds very simple, but believe me, it's hard to do.
It's hard to do, especially because I'm thinking, is this video that I'm making, how can I communicate truth without communicating ego? Like, I don't want to come over as another one of those guys that are in my industry, but I don't know how to do it. And as a result, I'm not doing anything. I have analysis by paralysis by analysis, which is horrible. Like, I want to make an
Why?
impact, but the way you make an impact is by going out there. And I know that
Yeah.
logically, but I still have resistance.
Okay, let me give you a funny example. Um, the calls. We sometimes we do calls and people want information on the healings, the programs, the ceremonies, and these things. And they want to do a call to get this information. And I open the phone and say, "Hey, how you doing? Hi, I'm good. I had one of these calls yesterday. Ah, I'm good. I was wondering, are you guys coming to the Netherlands to give a healing?" I said, "No, we're not gonna come to the Netherlands this year." He said, "Oh, why not?" I said, "Because I don't feel like it." Mind you, this is a business call, huh? I'm supposed to give the right answer, politically correct answer, but I'm not doing that because I'm me. So I just said, I don't feel like it. I went last year, didn't feel nice. I want to stay in the sun, in the warm, in the open. He said, oh, okay. So are you going to like other countries? I said, yes, I'm going to Mexico to give healing ceremonies as well. But he said, okay, can I maybe come to Mexico? I said, no. He said, why? I said, because I'm going to Mexico for the locals, for the Mexicans. Are you Mexican? He said, no. So I think most people will get to the point where they feel like, oh my God, is he trying to get the client or not? In reality, I don't care. I don't care if don't have to work for a month because I have a whole garden here that I can take care of. I have all these different projects I'm running that I can go and do and enjoy for my time. And I'm not interested in money. So I have the liberty, the freedom to just be honest. Then he proceeds on saying, so you're telling me that I have to come to Curacao, but I don't have the money because then I have to pay this plus this and this and this and this. I said, no.
I'm not telling you
The,
anything.
I said, no, the first money that you said, that first amount, that's all inclusive with your stay, with your food, with things that we do in between, and we might even give you an extra few days if we like you,
Yeah,
because we do that usually. If we like you, if you're a good person, well, you can stay a few extra days. We go to the beach, we go drive around. We're just human beings. We're not some Jesus or something. He said,
right.
oh, Jao, this call felt really good. I really appreciate your honesty. I've been doubting about this for so long, but I should have called you sooner. You know what? I'm gonna figure it out my work, and I'll see you in
So
March.
authenticity is the key. Just so for me, it's like a slap in my face. It's like just do your best to be authentic. And if
Yeah,
sometimes maybe you come off wrong, don't be so harsh on yourself because you mentioned that to me earlier. Don't be too strict with yourself. Just do your best to be authentic. Sure, you're probably gonna fuck up a lot of times, and that's part of it. And you should accept that and you should stop, which is another one of my thing, perfectionism, because of needing to always perform high grades and stuff. And it's like ingrained into I'm working through it. I'm working through perfectionism. I'm working through okay, it's okay. I can make mistakes. I can make mistakes, but I need to allow myself to make more mistakes because without being allowed to make mistakes, you cannot grow because you need some room. You need some room to make mistakes in order to know what's the right way, what's not the right way. That's
yeah.
how you're gonna grow.
And guess
Yeah, man.
what? The only reason to really get true success with your clients is if they trust you. And the
Definitely.
best way to build trust is to just be as honest as possible.
Yeah.
So if you really want to help, if you really want to get real success that even surprises you, then being straight up from the bat, even when it sounds wrong, is the best way to go.
Yeah.
And it's a way of protecting yourself too, because um, if a person is expecting me, for example, to give like this whole show and make it beautiful and explain all these things and make it better than it is, then I might also attract people that they came for the story, but not because they really trust me. So that I won't have that
Yeah,
much
yeah, yeah.
success with them.
You will
Don't
you
you
will
want to
attract the wrong people because that's the energy
Yes,
you're putting. You attract the energy that you put out. So if you want to attract the right
yes,
ones, put out the right energy. Yeah, that's basically it. There's so many people, bro, that live an extremely fake life according to them because they're radiating a fake energy, so their friends are fake, their career is fake, their clients are fake, everything they're attracting into their life, their partner, everything is fake because they were giving out the fake energy, so they attracted the people from that energy, but in like really deep down within those are the wrong people for them because they came for the wrong reasons, the wrong energies.
yeah, yeah. I think a good thing for you to
Yeah,
to try is look at your loved ones and your friends that you have around you, and just ask yourself the question: how many of these people have you had the capacity to truly be honest? Because everybody has a shadow. We all have things that maybe we feel afraid to share, but if you can share that with just one person, that allows you to open up your shadow to the light already. So I remember for myself, I had some things I was very afraid and ashamed of, and I really wanted to. So I had an addiction. I had a weed addiction at that point. No, sorry, it wasn't weed. It was a hush. Because like I told you, the weed made me like very open and stuff. So I switched to hush and I got high, blah blah. And I knew that it was an addiction. And I tried stopping. This was before I was doing healings. I was young, I was 17 something, and nothing helped. And at some point, I just realized that maybe the way to fixing this problem is I just have to be honest with about it with someone. But I was so ashamed because I always want to be this strong person, prove that I could do anything. And that then I came to realize like, but wait, I don't really have anyone around me right now that I trust enough to be vulnerable with and share my shadow with. And at some point I found someone and I sat down and I remember I wrote all my things down, everything I felt afraid of and guilty of and ashamed of, things I never told anyone, not even my mother. But I told this person, and I said to this person, like, I don't expect anything from you, not advice, nothing. I just want to prove to myself that I can speak my truth. And I feel like if just one person knows, then I know that there's going to be some light starting to grow in that shadow of me right now. 2 days later, I quit that addiction. I never smoked again
Because you talked about it.
because I
Wow.
was able to actually share the things that I've never shared before. So if you know your ego is your biggest struggle, then you need to look at, okay, what are my insecurities that trigger that ego, and how many people can I actually talk with about
Wow,
that? Because
bro, that is so profound. And that is so true, actually, because the second that you start talking about the thing that you're so afraid of internally or that's holding you back, you kind of like let go of that weight and you also tell it that, hey, look, I'm not afraid of you. You're not that significant. I can talk about you.
yeah,
I can. It is so true, man. Like yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen this also in a lot of other people that once they talk about the thing that they are insecure about, for example, they own up to it, then it stops eating them up from
yes.
inside because they fully own it and they just embrace it and they stop trying to hide that part of themselves. And
See, the thing is,
yeah,
those feelings or maybe suppressed thoughts, they're like hiding in your central nervous system. But your
yeah,
central nervous has its own aliveness, its own consciousness. So it pops it up into the mindscape to keep telling you, like, hey, this needs attention. Hey, this needs attention. Hey, you need to look at this. But because you don't want to look maybe at your, not you specifically, but in general,
no, me
at
too.
your insecurities or
Yeah,
fears or doubts or guilt, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to speak about it. And then, so you're teaching your central nervous system that it's not okay to have it. But then the moment you go and talk about it with someone, the action is mirroring to your nervous system like, hey, it's okay. If I can dare to speak it out and say it to another person, then it must be okay. And the more, if you have a tight group of friends or family members, and you can say it to multiple people, and then also make the agreement with them, like, hey, these are my dark, deep secrets, and I want you guys to keep me accountable for these things. Suddenly, you feel different. I felt different because I knew I told my secrets and everything to my friends, and now they were keeping me accountable for keeping me up to this promise. So I remember the first day he came into my house after telling him. He came the next day and he saw that the hash was still on my table, and he said to me like, "What? I thought you were gonna quit and that you were right because you told me." I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, you're right." He said, "But did you smoke after the conversation?" No, no, actually I didn't. I felt so good telling you about it. So why do you still have it? So there was still this tiny bit of attachment, but because I asked him to keep me accountable, he said, "I'm gonna throw it away." So he took it, did it in his pocket, and went away. So you have now people helping you facing your own shadow.
yeah, because
And
you opened up about it, and that is beautiful. Yeah, now you have people helping. Yeah,
I honestly believe that some things, even ayahuasca cannot do for you, mushrooms cannot do that for you, peyote, cactus, nothing can do these things for you. Some things is really up to us. That opening up, speaking our truth, sharing, no matter how dark, ugly, bad, only we can do it. But if you can overcome that challenge again and again and again and again, it becomes easier and automatically you become more authentic. You don't need to do a retreat, plant medicine, blah, blah. No, not necessary. That's the only daily work. You feel something, say it. You think something, say it. Obviously, if it's about another person, don't break them, don't destroy them. But if you don't start feeling good with a friend anymore and it keeps popping in your head all the time, like, oh, I don't know what the friend thinks of me, blah, blah, but we have a long relationship, just be honest. Hey, man, listen,
Yeah.
we've been friends for a long time, but I feel we're growing apart. No bad blood. I feel like I have to let you go. Much love, listo.
What do you do? Because I have a lot of difficult. I had that happen to me like around a year ago by now, where someone put me out of their life, and I had a lot of, and I still have a lot of difficulty um accepting that because I had held that person quite highly, and I've been like I got really insecure after that, really
Because
insecure.
because you want to prove that you're worth being in their life.
I got insecure about, wait, is there something really wrong with me? Like, bro, like I started really going deep. I started psychedelics and this and that. Like, I went into that thing again to why would they not want me in their life? I have them sitting so high and they're very intelligent. There's a very intelligent person. And it's not like someone where, oh, they don't want me in their life. Well, they were bad for me anyway. Like, no, I really like this person and they don't want me in their life. I can kind of understand why I can definitely understand my behavior, that why they did that decision, but I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to solve it, and they never wanted to even talk about it anymore. That's what I had difficulties with because I'm always like, I want to resolve. Even if we go out of each other, I want to do it in a peaceful way. But even that conversation, they weren't open to it. And I had a lot of, and I still have a lot of difficulty accepting that and processing that. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yes, it does make sense. And what I want to, this is one, I have no idea who you're talking about, but if I may let my intuition speak, I think you have a wrong view of this person. And I think that you place them on a higher pedestal than they actually are. And that they probably look very smart and intelligent on the outside, but on the inside, they still have a lot of stuff that they're going through. And maybe you are growing at such a rapid pace that they cannot keep up with you. And they had to let you go. Did you maybe think about that as a possibility?
so I know they have a lot of things going on inside. They're also very transparent of all the things that they have going on inside. Very transparent, also in a public way. Um, and everyone has their own things. Um, I have them sitting high because I can relate a lot to this person, and I know this person for a really long time, even though we didn't like speak a lot and met a lot in real life. We met a couple of times, a handful of times. And I know I was in the wrong in terms of like I know their decision to put me out of their life is influenced by stuff that happened in their past. I could actually I can be fully transparent actually about the story if you really want to know the story. Like I am totally open to it. Like if you really want to hear it.
I personally don't think that that's maybe
If you
for a
don't think
podcast,
it's
but I would love to discuss that with you in private. Yeah, because it involves someone else's life, and I think maybe we should respect that.
definitely, that's why I wasn't mentioning the person because I always want to respect the other party, and I have a lot of respect for that person, and yeah, um,
But just keep in mind, I think your biggest mistake was putting someone.
I would like to
Above.
talk to you about it. Actually, I would
Okay,
I would love
let me
to.
tell you right
Yeah,
now. Let me tell you right now.
yeah,
This is one of the beautiful things my mother taught to me.
yeah,
It's to never put anyone above you or below you. So when I see a person, okay, I don't know how many people can relate to this, but I have finally come to a place in my life
yeah.
where I can see a person and nothing crosses my mind.
That's beautiful. No
I don't-
judgment, you mean?
yes,
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
nice.
can finally, um, and that allows me also to feel. I can see and just feel like what is going on the inside of this person and just feel that, the
Yeah,
emotion, the mental scape. Um, And I feel like every time you put a person below you or above you, you're
Yeah.
gonna get hurt. So separately from who he is and what the situation was, I think the lesson in this was very simple. Don't put anyone above you.
Can I clarify what I meant with putting them high? Because
Sure.
maybe there's a misunderstanding there. I wasn't referring to putting them above me. I was referring to I had them high up in my mental classification of the importance of people in my life. So, for example, if a random person walking on the street is going to say something not nice to me, I'm going to be like, that's not nice. But I'm going to be able to sleep at night and I'm going to be like, oh, that person must have been going through a rough day. Maybe he just broke up and he just was angry and he put it out on me. And I don't even know that person. I don't like, I will literally forget about it the same day. What I mean with I had this person high, it just means like I respected this person. They were an important person in my life. That's what I mean. I don't mean they were higher than me. I mean the classification of how much I care about them was higher than the person on the street. That's why it hurt me more. That's what I meant.
How many
Not
times did
higher
you
than me.
how many times did you see this person?
In real life, a handful of times, not that many, but we had like a lot of contact online all the time. It was a, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I guess maybe I'm different in that. Maybe I'm very hard, very direct in that because my mind is very simple. Um, I think if I was to be in your position, I would say this person doesn't pay my rent, doesn't do my job, doesn't make my food, do my groceries,
Yeah.
doesn't take care of my parents. So to me, a person who is not involved in that level of intimacy in my life can't really touch me because I find it difficult
I
to
understand.
explain.
No, no, no. I understand fully. And
That's
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 how
the
they
first thing I
thought
would
about
notice.
me. That's why he was able to get me out of his life very easily because he
Sure.
clearly voiced as well, like, you don't pay my, not, he didn't say you don't pay my rent, but he was clear about, like, oh, you're not that important in my life. But the other way around, like, he did help me with a lot of things. He helped me with a lot of things. And to me, it was a valuable person. It mainly made me very insecure afterwards because if I tell you, and it's not a long story, but if I tell you the story of how it kind of like happened, bro, you are also going to be very fascinated about the whole story. Um, yeah, I don't know how you want to go about it. I can tell you,
Maybe
I can
if I maybe if I have the whole story, I can get a better view. Yeah, definitely. But I don't know. Would you want to do that separately, or are you just gonna cut it out?
bro, we can just keep talking because it's the call. I want to just keep the call going and we can,
Yeah,
afterwards, we can cut it. Do you want to take a little couple minute break to pee and stuff? Like, is
yeah,
that,
definitely. Let's do that.
let's,
Let's fresh up.
yeah, let's do that. Beautiful. And I wish him exactly the same, man. And
Yeah.
going through tough things and I have zero bad blood towards him in terms of like, I don't like having bad blood. Yeah, same, man. I wish him the same. Bro, I will forever remember this day for the rest of my life, man, how this happened, bro. Because right now the chapter is closed. You don't know how much you meant for me, man, during this call.
Okay, man. With pleasure.
Crazy. We were supposed to do the body scan. Forget about that. This was like way more valuable. Like, this was perfect. Like, this is it.
I told you already. Like these things are better to discuss in private because usually it goes deep, and for the sake of integrity, the people who really feel like they can get help with you,
Yeah.
you don't have to prove it. It's a feeling. They'll come to you automatically. So it's okay.
What do you mean by that? Like the people. Wait.
See, it's cool. It's cool to like show the body scan and do that and blah blah.
That the proving
Yeah,
to
yeah,
other. Yes, yes. I was
yeah.
like thinking, why are you saying that? Because I really want to understand why you say what you say. Like, I have this
Yeah,
thing in
yeah,
me
yeah.
where I want to
No, that's
understand
it's just
everything.
that. It's just that
I understand. Yeah,
people
I agree.
and
I
of
totally agree.
course,
I
yeah.
haven't posted on social media in months but the clients that I need, like that really need me, they somehow, some way, they still end up like connecting with me. Bro, I have a crazy story, very short. I have a student. He was going on a little boat from one small island to another island in Thailand. His name is Ryan. And there was another guy taking that same small boat to go from the small island to the other island, and he needed help. He wanted to do sales online, and he needed someone to learn it from. So Ryan was on this small boat. They started connecting, they started talking, and then Ryan texts me. He's like, "I met this guy on the small boat, and he told me he wants to do this. I told him about you." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Let me call with him." I called with him, and not only did he end up becoming a client and we ended up working together and was like a successful thing, but we ended up becoming best friend, like like one of my best friends, and we lived together for a really long time in Portugal. We ended up living together. And this guy, the universe made me link up with him without social media, without anything. It was just on a freaking small boat. If you need to connect with someone, it will happen. It doesn't matter how. The universe will connect you in the weirdest ways. And I have so many other of these stories, but this is just one that came up. Yeah, man. It's I believe that. I definitely believe
Very
that.
true. I agree.
Yeah, so the right people
Yeah.
will find you, man. So for everyone listening to this is your guy. Um,
Where are you now?
right now in the Netherlands, man.
Oh, okay.
Bro, you have no idea how happy I am and how grateful I am. And all right, thank you everyone for watching this podcast. I hope it was useful for you. I am sure it was. If you want to know more about the whole plant medicine space and what Chow can actually do for you, I'll make sure to leave all of his links, the website, everything down below. Maybe Chow, you want to mention like a website or like the Instagram username handle, like where people can reach you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would
if you
say
if you can do that,
the
that would
name
be
is
great.
Back into a Healers, and you can find us with that name on Instagram, on the website, on Google. However, the name is kind of difficult.
Yeah, what's
Back
the
into a Healer.
spelling? How do you spell it?
Oh, how do you spell that in English? I think AKIT and then UWA.
Yeah.
English is not my first language, so this
No,
was challenging.
your English is perfect, bro. Akitua Healers. Yeah.
Healers, yeah, and if you just put in
Akitua Healers. Yeah. I'll put it here, put it on the screen. We talked about some insanely deep personal stuff. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, we cannot put it in there. But guys, it was such a pleasure talking to Chow. And hopefully we'll have I feel like we are gonna have a second conversation one day. But thank you so much for being on, brother.